Chapter 351 Thin, Blue Shiitake Mushroom. The huge heavenly lightning struck ferociously at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio sat cross-legged on the ground, completely unconcerned. She used her spiritual sense to speak to the strange grass and the great void mirror in her dantian. Hey, weren't the two of you fighting over lightning just now? Now's your chance. Swallow it with all your might. Whoever absorbs less will be finished. The strange grass proudly shook its leaves, and the mirror did not want to be outdone either. It scrambled to swallow the incoming lightning. After the last lightning strike, Yun Chujio's veins had been expanded to twice their original size, and they were very strong. Therefore, even if the lightning was very violent, it did not have any effect on her. At first, Yun Chujio was still a little worried, but later, she realized that the power of lightning that surged in was not enough for the two of them, so she began acting arrogantly. Hey, little weakling in the sky, can you show me some strength? This is too weak. Are you also unmotivated when it comes to the lightning tribulations? Why are you getting worse each time? Little weakling, hurry up and strike. I haven't even finished my lunch yet, and you've interrupted me. You're so rude. Alright, are you a male or female Cloud? I heard that it's not as tiring when you have a male and female team. Why don't you guys form a team next time? You can strike to your heart's content. You're such a weak lightning bolt. It's like scratching an itch. It's really not satisfying. The dark clouds in the sky began to emit white smoke. Strike. Strike. Kill this scourge. It was really too hateful. The tribulation lightning that was as thick as a wrist continuously struck down. Yun Chujio had two little ancestors in her dantian. It was simply too easy, was it not? However, the nearby trees and land were affected. Soon, a deep pit was formed where Yun Chujio was. Beiming could hear Yun Chujio mumbling nonstop at the bottom of the pit. Tisk, damn lightning. Why did it strike so hard? It's a pity that this spirit potato is so hot. This one is alright. It's charred on the outside but tender on the inside. Not bad. Not bad. Prince Charming, do you want to eat the roasted potatoes? Using heavenly lightning to strike it is better than using a stove to roast it. I don't want any. The corner of Beiming's eyes twitched. Even at a time like this, you can still think of eating. It's okay if you don't want to eat it. I'll eat it myself. It's charred on the outside but tender on the inside. It's really not bad. I didn't expect for the heavenly lightning strikes to be so weak, but the potatoes turned out not bad. I might as well become a chef in the future. Yun Chujio grumbled as she ate. The dark clouds in the sky was about to go crazy from anger. The lightning. The lightning. The lightning. I'm not the chef who roasts potatoes for you. You're fucking infuriating me to death. In a fit of anger, the dark clouds simply strike the spiritual potato in Yun Chujio's hand. I'll strike this thing into charcoal and have you eat that. Yun Chujio had just peeled a roasted spiritual potato, and was about to eat it when it was turned into ashes by the lightning. This fellow was immediately enraged. Fuck. This is too much. It's fine if you strike me. It's shameful to waste food. Be careful not to waste food lest you make a little dark cloud with defects. The dark cloud was so angry. Strike. Strike. It had to strike the wicked Yun Chujio to death that day. Unfortunately, no matter how it hacked, Yun Chujio was still alive and kicking in the pit. Moreover, she was constantly showing off and provoking people. Yes, angry cloud. The dark cloud's heart was broken. Who can tell me why this Yun Chujio had become even more abnormal after not seeing her for a few days? Oh, the dark cloud was a blue thin shiitake mushroom. 1. Chapter 352. Dark clouds with white smoke. After the dark cloud struck randomly, it floated away with white smoke. The disciples of Spirit Radiance sect pointed at the dark cloud in the sky and said, "Ah, this is interesting. Why is that lump of dark cloud giving off white smoke? I thought it was going to rain, but that didn't happen, right? Why is there so much thunder behind Middle Peak today? On top of that, they're all purple heavenly thunder? Who knows? It's not just today. Do you remember the last time? It was even more powerful than this time. The thunderstorm lasted for a full 16 hours. It was so scary. Is there treasure at the back of the mountain? Forget it. If there was, how could the sect leader not dig it out? Then why is there always purple lightning? It's really strange. Who knows? Maybe God doesn't like that hill. Yun Chujo waited for the dark clouds to drift away before shouting at Di Biming. Prince Charming, I want to change my clothes. You stand guard and don't let those old hooligans come over. Di Biming's mouth twitched and he nodded lightly. Yun Chujo took off her tattered clothes and changed into a new set of sect uniform. Then she flew up on the chopping board. Di Biming saw Yun Chujia's appearance and could not help but smile. The hair that had grown out with great difficulty was hacked off again. Her face was also covered in ashes. Yun Chujo touched her head and said self-deprecatingly, "This hair of mine is really in line with a poem. The wildfire cannot be burnt out, but the spring breeze can make it grow again." Di Biming raised his eyebrows. "Didn't I give you a hair growth pill? Why aren't you using it?" "I was afraid of being exposed in the past but am not anymore. Now, we can be considered to have gone from sneaking around to being above board." "Hee. Prince Charming. Can you give me another set of clothes? My sect uniform cannot withstand being hacked. Fortunately, I have you to keep watch. Otherwise, everyone would have seen me. It's best if you give me a lightning-proof hat." Yun Chujo clung to Di Biming's arm. Di Biming frowned. "Black Thing is right. If I'm not around when she breaks through next time, won't she be seen by others? I have to find a good defensive robe for her. It would be best if it's an immortal item." Yun Chujo saw that Di Biming was silent and thought that he did not agree, so she began to act shamelessly. "Prince Charming, are you reluctant to it to me? Humph. If you don't give it to me, I'll strip you of this robe." As Yun Chujo spoke, she began to strip Di Biming of his clothes. He was still thinking where he could get Yun Chujo an immortal item robe, so he did not stop her immediately. "Cough. Cough. Little Jiu. Stop." When Master Xianyuan and the others rushed over, they saw Yun Chujo desperately stripping young Master Di's clothes. It was simply unsightly. Master Xuanyuan's old face turned red. This Yun Chujo is too unrestrained. Could it be that Master Di likes this behavior? Only then did Di Biming realize that his clothes had been torn into a mess by Yun Chujo. He hurriedly tidied his clothes and glared at Yun Chujo. Then, he nodded at Master Xianyuan as a form of greeting. Yun Chujo was not the slightest bit embarrassed that she had been caught. She smiled and said, "Master Xianyuan, my idol said that he would give me a robe. I usually don't ask others for things that I can do myself, so I wanted to just take it." Master Xianyuan felt that he had nowhere to put his face. It was too embarrassing. You can do it yourself without asking others for help. Why do I get a feeling that you were molesting a good man? Chapter 353. Breakthrough. Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. "Stop fooling around. Why did you summon the heavenly lightning twice in a day? And this time the power seems to be even stronger than the previous one. Could it be that you've broken through again?" Yun Chujo sighed. "It didn't meet my expectations. I'm still too weak." The crowd could not see Yun Chujia's true spiritual power and thought that she had failed to break through. So they comforted her, "Little Jiu, this is very normal. Most disciples don't succeed every time they break through. Just work harder next time. Yeah, cultivation is not something that can be achieved overnight. Take your time. How long has it been since you broke through to the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm last time? Cultivation can be a dangerous thing. Don't be impatient." Yun Chujo touched her nose. "Cough cough. Who said that I failed to break through? I only rose 2 levels, so I'm a little disappointed. I thought that I could break through to the 8th level of spirit enhancement realm this time. But in the end, I only reached the 6th level of spirit enhancement realm." Everyone was speechless. Geniuses and us ordinary people are indeed two different kinds of people. You fucking leveled up 2 levels all of a sudden and you're still sighing. Are you deliberately trying to anger us? Ordinary disciples would be ecstatic even when they level up once. Okay? Di Biming glanced at Yun Chujo from the side. Black Thing really didn't even blink when she lied. The 6th level? She was already at level 8 spirit enhancement before she leveled up. Not leveling up and instead regressing was unheard of. Master Xianyuan and the others were already speechless. They had just said a lot of comforting words. What else could they say now? Could it be that what we said just now was all nonsense and you pretended not to hear it? Yun Chujo blinked her eyes and decided to change the topic, so she said, "Master Xianyuan, I want change my residence for the time being. It's convenient to be struck by lightning in the future. so as to avoid hurting others. Master Xinyuan nodded. That's good too. Anyway, the amount of spiritual essence won't hinder your cultivation. I'll order the back of the middle peak to be a forbidden area so that you can go, practice. Master Xinyuan originally wanted to say that it would be more convenient for her to be struck by lightning, but he changed his words after thinking about it. Master Xinyuan, if there's nothing else, my Prince Charming and I will go back. I'm so dirty right now. I need to go back and take a hot bath. Yun Chuzhou pointed at her dirty little face and said. Master Xinyuan nodded. After Di Baiming nodded at everyone, he was dragged away by Yun Chuzhou. Master Xinyuan and the others stood where they were and watched the two leave. Then they heard Yun Chuzhou say, Prince Charming, let's take a bath together later. Shut up. Nonsense. Tisk, Prince Charming, are you shy? It's not like we haven't taken a bath before. Everyone was in a mess. Oh my god. Why did our Spirit Radiance sect have a female pervert? Oh, Master Linghua, do you know what kind of disciple you have? If other sects knew that we have such a pervert, little ancestor Yun, we would have nowhere to put our old faces. Cough cough. Everyone, Yun Chuzhou is still young and doesn't have a mother to teach her. It's inevitable that her personality will be a little off. She's naive and romantic. What she says may not be what we think it is. Master Xinyuan coughed dryly twice. He felt that he might really have catch a cold since he coughed several times in such a short period of time. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently. We believe our eyes. Yun Chuzhou had either stripped or touched that young Master D, and now she even came out said they wanted to bathe together. If she isn't a pervert, then what is she? Chapter 354. Yun Chuzhou was a little beauty. Yun Chuzhou was not aware of the resentment of the group of old people behind her as she dragged Di Baiming back to the dormitory. Yun Chuzhou took out a large bathtub from her storage ring and tested the temperature of the water with her hands. She said with satisfaction, it's so convenient to have a storage ring. Everything can be stored in it. Di Baiming raised his eyebrows. You have bath water in your storage ring? Yes. Not only do I have hot bath water, I also have blankets, pillows, towels, pots and pans, seasonings, and everything you could ever think of. Even if I were to be thrown into a place where there's nothing, it would be enough for me to live for 2 to 3 years. Yun Chuzhou's favorite activity was to gather the wool, so the storage ring was filled with all sorts of things. Di Baiming's eyes twitched slightly. Then you can take your time to wash up. I'll go out and warn you if needed. Don't we have an Feng and an Yin? Why don't you wash up with me? Yun Chuzhou blinked her starry eyes as she looked at Di Baiming. She felt that teasing the gigolo was a lot of fun. Di Baiming's ears turned red as expected. He shouted angrily, Black thing. I won't forgive you if you continue to spout nonsense. After saying that, Di Baiming quickly walked out. No matter how one looked at it, he looked like he was running away in a panic. Yun Chuzhou let out a laugh that sounded like the rings of silver bells. She took off her clothes and started bathing happily. The gigolo is really innocent. Teasing the gigolo is the most enjoyable activity in life. Di Baiming walked out of the house and took a deep breath before he suppressed the restlessness in his heart. This black thing is really... Sigh, when will she grow up? Di Baiming inexplicably thought of Yun Chuzhou's words. When the time comes, I will suffocate you with my chest. The feeling of his face blushing and his heart beating surfaced once again. When Yun Chuzhou jumped out of the shower, she saw Di Baiming standing at the door with a flushed face. Hey, Prince Charming, what are you daydreaming about? Yun Chuzhou stretched out her palm and waved it in front of Di Baiming's eyes. Di Baiming was shocked and said in a panic, Nothing. You can wash. Di Baiming looked at the little person in front of him and was stunned. Although the little person in front of him did not have any hair, her skin was as white as jade, so tender that it seemed like water could be squeezed out. Her eyelashes were long and thick, and her eyes were bright and lively. Her pink lips were slightly pouting as she looked at him in confusion. Di Baiming felt his heart beat violently, and his throat seemed to have closed up. His mind was blank and he could not say anything. Yun Chuzhou saw that Di Baiming looked like a fool, and she could not help but giggle. Prince Charming, what's wrong with you? Let's go and continue having lunch. It should be considered dinner already. After all that, I'm even hungrier. Biming was dragged to the side of the stone table by Yun Chujio and finally regained his senses. A strong sense of danger filled his heart. The black thing is becoming more and more beautiful. It's too dangerous. If I'm not by her side, she would definitely attract the covetous eyes of many men. Seems that what I did previously was right. I must let others know that the black thing is mine. After dinner, Yun Chujio leaned back on the recliner and crossed her legs. She took out the hair growth pill and mirror from her storage ring. Then she jumped down from the chair. Damn! How did I become so good looking? Ha ha ha, as expected. A mask covers 100 ugliness. This little face, these big eyes, this perky little nose bridge, and these pink little lips. I'm going to be charmed to death by myself. I accidentally became Qingxian Continent's #1 beauty. I'm really sorry. Chapter 355. Biming's two-pronged attack. Biming looked at Yun Chujio, who kept showing off, and the corner of his eyes twitched a little. Perhaps his worries just now were unnecessary. Only he could take in that random black thing. Yun Chujio admired herself for a long time and felt a little unsatisfied. She asked, "Enfeng, do you think I'm beautiful?" Enfeng looked at her and said coldly, "Miss Jo is very beautiful." Yun Chujio nodded in satisfaction and looked at An, who had a poker face. "An, do you think I'm beautiful?" "Yes." An's answer was as simple as usual. Yun Chujio did not feel satisfied, so she said, "Little flame, furry, come out. Do you think I'm beautiful?" The rolling pin trembled. "Master, you've really become beautiful." After Yun Chujio was struck by the lightning just now, Furry became even more obsequious. "Master, you're too beautiful." What are the sayings? The fish sinks and goose alights, outshining the moon and shaming flowers. A peerless beauty capable of causing the downfall of a city. They're all not enough to describe your beauty. Master, your beauty has made the sun and moon lose their luster. Master, your beauty has caused the stars in the sky to lose their luster. Master, you're undoubtedly the #1 beauty. Biming and the other two were dumbfounded. Fuck. This ball of yarn was too good at wheedling. The compliments was too smooth. What a master and what a tool. It was simply comparable to its master. Yun Chujio was so dizzy from the Foi's words that she could hardly close her mouth. "Furry, who would have thought you'd have such good points? You're so honest. Your honesty is really great. Here. These are for you and Little Flame." Yun Chujio took out 2 roast chickens from her storage ring and gave them to the rolling pin and yarn ball. Yun Chujio winked at Biming and asked sweetly, "My Prince Charming, am I beautiful?" Biming had goosebumps all over his body. "Speak properly. What have you become?" Yun Chujio secretly cursed him for being a big blockhead who did not get a hint from her flirtatious eyes. She pouted and asked again, "Am I beautiful?" "A little better than black bean sprouts," Biming said lightly. Yun Chujio immediately exploded. "Do you have eyes? Do you see how beautiful I am? You're comparing me to black bean sprouts?" Biming's face darkened. "Black thing, are you trying to rebel?" Yun Chujio's mouth opened and closed. She gritted her teeth and then smiled obsequiously. "Prince Charming, I'm praising you. The black bean sprouts is such a beautiful metaphor. From now on, it'll be a bean sprout fairy." "Damn you, Tsundra. You just healed a couple days ago and now you're crazy again. Just you wait, gigolo. Sooner or later, I'll make you pay me back with interest." Biming hummed lightly. He felt that it was necessary to manage the black thing. Recently, he had been too indulgent with her. If I wasn't by her side, wouldn't she turn the world upside down? Who knows how many idiots she would attract? Biming felt that his idea was not bad. He wanted to use both methods. On one hand, he wanted to let the people of Spirit Radiance sect know that Black Thing was his person so that they would not have any ideas about her. On the other hand, he wanted to re-establish his authority in front of her so that she would not get carried away and attract bees and butterflies. That was right. That was what he was going to do. Thus, that night, no matter how coquettishly Yun Chujio acted, Biming was determined not to sing the lullaby. He even reprimanded her with a straight face. "Black Thing, don't push your luck. If you continue to cause trouble, I won't forgive you. In the future, you'll have to buy all your food with your own money." Yoon Chujio cursed the gigolo in her heart a few hundred times before falling asleep. Chapter 356. Manners over lust. The next day, Yoon Chujio and Lee Biming had just finished their breakfast when Yoon Chuzi and the others arrived. Yoon Chuzi and the others were busy cleaning up their new residence the day before, and only heard news about Yoon Chujio at night. That she had gotten involved with a handsome man, and something about how all the good cabbages had been eaten by pigs when they even encountered conflict with a few female disciples who were gossiping. At that time they wanted to find Yoon Chujio and ask her about it. In the end, they saw that it was already late, and they believed that little Joe would not act rashly. That was why they decided to go over and clarify in the morning. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Yoon Chujio hopped to the entrance and welcomed the 6 people into the courtyard. Yoon Chuzi and the others were shocked when they saw Yoon Chujio. How did little Joe suddenly become so beautiful? Little Joe, how did you become beautiful? Yoon Chuki asked in surprise. Yoon Chujio immediately began to show off. Have I? Natural beauty is hard to give up. Gold will shine eventually. I've always been very low-key to hide my beauty, but I didn't expect you to find out. The corners of Yoon Chuzi and the others' eyes twitched, and then they saw Lee Biming standing in the middle of the courtyard. They finally understood why those female disciples were so crazy to slander little Joe. Such an outstanding man indeed had the ability to make other men feel inferior, and make women go crazy for him. However, when the woman who went crazy for him was her sister, it did not feel good at all. Even though she was intimidated by Lee Biming's aura, Yoon Chuzi still asked Yoon Chujio seriously, "Who is he? Why is he in your courtyard so early in the morning?" Yoon Chujio rolled her eyes and said with a smile, "He is the master I mentioned. However, we fell in love at first sight. Now, he's mine." What the hell? Yoon Chuzi and the others were dumbfounded. Master? Fell in love at first sight? He's yours? Yoon Chu immediately exploded. Little Joe, what did you say? Have you already done it? Seeing that the misunderstanding was getting deeper, Yoon Chujio quickly said, No, we've always practiced manners over lust. I'm still young. How can I do that kind of thing? This lady silently added in her heart, we've only held each other's hands, hugged each other's waists, and kissed each other on the lips. Little Joe, come out. We have something to tell you. Yoon Chua dragged Yoon Chujio out of the courtyard, and Yoon Chuzi and the others surrounded her. Little Joe, you're still young. Marriage is no child's play. Don't be willful. Yoon Chua said seriously. Don't worry. Only I can cheat others. No one can cheat me. Moreover, you have to act early. You've seen that those women are like wolves and tigers. If I don't watch them closely, my Prince Charming will definitely be eaten by them. Yoon Chujio said with a smile. Yoon Chu and the others tried to persuade her for a while. Seeing that Yoon Chujio was determined to be with that young Master D, they had no choice but to give up trying to persuade her. Little Joe's idea was pretty good. In any case, young Master D seemed to be more reliable than that by Mayu, so they could only let her be. Little Joe, if you really like that young Master D, we won't stop you. However, you're still young now, so you mustn't do that kind of thing. Firstly, it's not good for your body. Secondly, since ancient times, to become someone's wife is to become a concubine. You mustn't be willful about it. Yoon Chu said seriously. Yoon Chuji's heart warmed. Only those who truly cared about me would think so extensively. Fifth sister, don't worry. I know what to do. I'm still young. The most important thing now is to improve my spiritual power. As for the love between a man and a woman, just let it be. Little Joe, I heard that young Master D is staying at your place tonight? Yoon Chuzi asked with a frown. Yoon Chujio blinked and concocted a lie. Yes, he's staying at my place because he wants to teach me some cultivation methods. You guys know that I have Thunder Spirit Root, and that my cultivation method is different from yours. Did you guys see the heavenly thunder yesterday? They were all here to strike me. If it wasn't for my Prince Charming protecting me, I would have long choked on my farts. Chapter 357. Today is a good day. Yoon Chuzi and the others were stunned by Yoon Chuji's words. They believed her, having recalled the 2 terrifying lightning strikes from the day before. Brothers and sisters, let's go. I'll introduce him to you. In the future, he might be your brother-in-law. Yoon Chujio said with a smile. Yoon Chuzi and the others were speechless when they saw Yoon Chujio's eager attitude. Little Jo, can you be a little more reserved like a proper girl? Prince Charming, this is my fourth brother, fifth sister, sixth brother, seventh sister, eighth brother, and Miss Ching Si. This is my Prince Charming Di-Bei. Just as Yoon Chujio was hesitating, deciding whether to give them his real name or fake name, Di-Bei-ming nodded slightly at the crowd. Di-Bei-ming. Greetings. Yoon Chujio saw that Di-Bei-ming not only took the initiative to introduce himself, but was also humble and polite. He immediately felt that he was very respectful toward them. There was a saying that goes, "A man who respects your family is a man who truly likes you." Indeed, although the Prince Charming was arrogant, he was still quite reliable at critical moments. Di-Bei-ming greeted them and took out spirit fruits and pastries from his storage ring and placed them on the stone table. He motioned for everyone to sit and talk. Although Yoon Chuzi and the others were a little reserved, in order to test their future brother-in-law's character, they sat down anyway. Please eat. These pastries and fruits are really delicious. I like them the most. Yoon Chujio stuffed the pastries and spirit fruits into everyone's hands, and then picked up a piece for herself. Di-Bei-ming picked up the teapot and helped everyone fill up the teacups. Then he handed a cup of tea to Yoon Chujio. I've tested it. It's not too hot. Drink it. Yoon Chujio was feeling a little thirsty, so she took the teacup and drank it all in a few gulps. Then she started chatting with Yoon Chuzi and the others. Yoon Chuzi and the others saw that not only was Di-Bei-ming's spiritual power superb, he was also handsome. On top of that, it was rare for a person to be so considerate to little Jo. No wonder little Jo was moved. He was indeed a good candidate for a husband. After chatting for a while, Yoon Chuzi and the others took their leave. Although Di-Bei-ming tried his best to restrain his aura, the noble air of a superior still made Yoon Chuzi and the others uncomfortable. Oh right, fourth brother, your spiritual power is almost consolidated. You can continue to take the spirit gathering pill. Yoon Chuzi and the others took their leave after agreeing. My Prince Charming, you did well. Yoon Chujio said with a cheeky smile. Di-Bei-ming hummed lightly. He had his own plans. Black Thing values her family the most. Now that I've given them an impression, they can help me keep an eye on her to prevent her from attracting bees and butterflies. A voice transmission talisman in Di-Bei-ming's storage ring started vibrating. Di-Bei-ming used his spiritual sense to listen to it. Black Thing, you've just broken through, and I don't think the heavenly lightning will come again for a short period of time. I'll leave for some time. Don't mess around, or I will not forgive you. Especially with that idiot Shuewuji. Don't bother with him. Yoon Chujio rolled her eyes and pretended to be reluctant that he was leaving. Do you have to leave? If you leave, who will sing me a lullaby at night? Who will pat me to sleep? And Fong and An almost fell to the ground in fright when they heard Yoon Chujio's words. What? Our revered one sings lullabies? Pats Miss Jo to sleep. Oh my god, isn't that scene too strange? Di-Bei-ming glared at Yoon Chujio. Don't spout nonsense. Anyway, cultivate well and don't get involved with men. Don't cause trouble. I'm leaving. Yoon Chujio waved her handkerchief and sent Di-Bei-ming away. Then she took out a reclining chair and lay on it to bask in the sun. She hummed happily, today is a good day. I can do whatever I want, master. What level are you at now? The rolling pin asked curiously. She said that she was at the 6th level of refining. What a lie. She was already on the 8th level before she leveled up. Chapter 358. Mental damage. Yoon Chujio said faintly, spirit enhancement? You're underestimating your master. Your master is already at the 2nd level of the spirit cultivator realm. Master, you've advanced 3 levels all of a sudden? The rolling pin was dumbfounded. Was it not said that humans had a huge bottleneck from the 9th level of the spirit enhancement realm to the 1st level of the spirit cultivator realm? Why did his master jump from the 8th level of the spirit enhancement realm to the 2nd level of the spirit cultivator realm all of a sudden? This did not follow the rules. It probably has something to do with the primordial chaos vitality pill that the gigolo gave me. If I wasn't afraid that my foundation wouldn't be stable if I rose too much, I think I would have broke through to the 4th level of Spirit Cultivator realm. Yun Chujo said lightly. The rolling pin finally understood why Patriarch Linghua wanted to take Yun Chujo as his disciple. This master of his was really amazing. She was an absolute monster. Just as Yun Chujo was feeling a little sleepy, the sound of footsteps came from outside the courtyard. Excuse me, is junior sister Yun here? A delicate voice asked. Yun Chujio's courtyard had a protective array activated so the people outside could not see what was happening inside, but she could see what was happening outside clearly. Are these people here for the beauty contest? She saw dozens of female disciples standing outside the courtyard, all dressed beautifully. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. She did not have any guests in her courtyard for a year. These people must be here for the gigolo. Since that was the case, do not blame her for being ruthless. Yun Chujo did not turn off the protective array. Instead, she walked out of the courtyard and said with a smile, "Senior sisters, is there anything you need from me?" Those female disciples initially thought that young Master D would come out when they saw that the door was open. Each of them were standing in their best posture. When they saw that only Yun Chujo came out alone, they could not help but feel a little discouraged. Moreover, why was Yun Chujo much more beautiful than before? Young Master D must have given her some beautifying medicinal pills. She was really lucky. Yun Chujo, turn off the protective array. We want to see young Master D. A woman wearing the uniform of an inner disciple said with a stiff tone. Yun Chujo curled her lips. How should I address you, senior sister? Su Yan, the inner disciple of West Peak. Yun Chujo, why haven't you gotten rid of the protective array? Is this how you treat your guests? Su Yan said arrogantly. Young Master D isn't feeling well and is resting. He can't receive guests now. Yun Chujo sighed and said. What? Young Master D is sick? He was fine yesterday. Why is he sick today? Did you do something? Yun Chujo, did you make young Master D sick? Yun Chujo, let me in quickly. I have pills with me. Yes. I also have nourishing herbs. Let me in. Sigh, I didn't expect that all the senior sisters would be so concerned about young Master D. I'm very touched. Please wait a moment. I'll go in and ask for young Master D's opinion. Yun Chujo entered the courtyard with a whoosh. After a while Yun Chujo came out. Senior sisters, young Master D said that he appreciates everyone's kindness. He really can't see any guests today. If you feel bad for him, you can leave the gifts here. Yun Chujo said with a smile. After hearing Yun Chujio's words, those girls immediately stuffed things into Yun Chujio's arms. This ginseng is very nourishing. Help me pass it to young Master D. This is a body-strengthening pill. After eating it, it can strengthen the body. You must help me pass it to young Master D. These kumquat fruits can clear and reduce bodily heat. Boil it with rock sugar and drink it. It's very nourishing. If young Master D finds it troublesome to do so, you can look for me to help you boil it. There were more and more things piling up. Yun Chujo could not carry them anymore. She simply asked them to put the things on the ground and then sent them away. Yun Chujo put all the things into her storage ring, and then entered the courtyard happily. Humph! How dare you covet my Prince Charming? I'll take these things as compensation for the mental damage caused by stress. Just as Yun Chujo was taking inventory of the spoils of war, Master Xuanyuan's voice rang out from her identity jade token. Yun Chujo, come to the drawing room immediately on. Chapter 359. Has nothing to do with me. Yun Chujo was very puzzled. Why was Master Xuanyuan looking for her? Could it be that he wanted to reward her? Yun Chujo immediately rode on the chopping board and went to the drawing room. Yun Chujo had just entered the drawing room when she felt several malicious gazes looking at her. She glanced at them and realized that they were all old acquaintances. Sitting on the guest seat was the sect master of Heavenly Gate sect, Du Gai. Next to him sat a few elders from their sect. One of the elders with a hooked nose glared at Yun Chujo with bloodshot eyes. He looked as if he wanted to eat her up. Behind these elders stood a few disciples from Heavenly Gate sect. Su Yanran was also among them. She had a cold smile on her face. Yun Chujo first bowed to Master Xuanyuan before greeting the people of the Heavenly Gate sect with a smile. Sect leader Du. Hello, old friends of the Heavenly Gate sect. I'm so happy to see you all. I've almost had enough showing off the 2 million spirit stones from before. Are you here to give me spirit stones again? The people of the Heavenly Gate sect were so angry that their noses were almost crooked. This Yun Chujo really brought up the wrong topic. She was really detestable. Yun Chujo, pay for my grandson's life. I'm going to kill you. Elder Zhang slammed the table and was actually about to make a move. Master Xinyuan snorted in displeasure. Master Du, your Heavenly Gate sect is really looking down on Spirit Radiance sect. If you're going to do this, please leave our sect. Our sect doesn't welcome you. Du Gai stopped Elder Zhang. Elder Zhang, the right and wrong will be determined. Don't act rashly. Master Xinyuan, I sent Zhang Xiong and the other 3 to be killed by Yun Chujo and the others. We're here to seek justice. Master Xinyuan sneered. Yun Chujo, is what Master Du said the truth? Yun Chujo was stunned at first. Then she stretched her neck and began to howl. Oh my God, I've been wronged. It's a great injustice. The corner of Master Zuanyuan's eyes twitched. He pretended to be surprised and said, Don't worry, I won't wrong you. Just tell me the truth. Yun Chujo wiped her tears with her sleeve and then said with grief and indignation, For the sake of the peace between the two sects, I didn't intend to say such a dirty thing. But since the Heavenly Gate sect came to find me, I can only tell you the truth. After I was transported to the ancient dimension, I first arrived at a desert. With great difficulty, I finally left the desert and arrived at a valley. Suddenly, I saw my 5th sister, 7th sister, and senior sister Su being escorted forward by 5 male disciples of the Heavenly Gate sect. As they walked, they even said some unsightly words. They said that the girls of Spirit Radiance sect are just like water spirits. It's a waste not to play with them. They said that the people of Spirit Radiance sect are all good for nothings. They actually didn't dare to say anything when they saw us taking away these 3 girls. When Spirit Radiance sect's elders heard those words, they were instantly enraged. The Heavenly Gate sect was really going too far. Such scum deserved to die. Even if it was really Yun Chujo who killed them, they would still try their best to hold on until the end. Yun Chujo stole a glance at everyone's reactions and then continued, Although I, Yun Chujo, am small and weak, I can't just stand by and watch them die. I followed them from afar. Later, the 5 people from Heavenly Gate sect discovered an Earth-rank, high-grade bright lotus plant. They pounced on it like wolves and threw my 3rd sister and the others to the side to fight for the bright lotus plant. I took this opportunity to save them. It was really karma, as they did not expect that the bright lotus plant would be guarded by a group of silver-horned 5-ringed snakes. When we left, they were already surrounded by the group of 5-ringed, silver-horned snakes. As for whether they were dead or not, I don't know. Nonsense. If they encountered the 5-ringed, silver-horned snakes, why didn't they crush the jade token when they knew they were no match for them? You must have used a trick to kill my grandson. Elder Zhang shouted ferociously. Yun Chujo shrugged her shoulders and spread her hands. If they didn't crush the jade token, then it's because they're mentally ill. What does it have to do with me? You're not here to act like a scoundrel just because you lost a bet to our sect, right? How shameless. Chapter 360. Earthfire. After saying this, Yun Chujo slipped behind Elder Chu, afraid that Elder Zhang would get angry and hurt her. Elder Zhang's face was livid with anger. Master Xinyuan, there were 3 other disciples with Yun Chujo at that time. I want to talk to them. Master Xinyuan sneered and then sent Yun Chu, Yun Chuki, and Su Yun over. When the 3 of them saw the people from the Heavenly Gate sect, they knew that something had happened. They felt uneasy. Yun Chujo stood behind Elder Chu and shouted, I've already told them everything. Zhang Xiong and the others are worse than pigs and dogs. They suffered retribution and were eaten by the 5-ringed, silver-horned snake. They deserve it. Don't be afraid. Just tell us the truth. Master will make the decision for us. Yun Chu and the other 2 immediately felt a little less nervous. They had already agreed on what they wanted to say, so they could just get on with it. The 3 of them told them what had happened. It was exactly the same as what Yun Chujo had said. Yun Chuki even started to cry while she was talking. We always thought that Heavenly Gate sect was a reputable sect. We didn't expect those 5 people to be worse than animals. If we hadn't met that bright lotus, And if we didn't have little Joe, we would have died of humiliation. We begged the sect master to make a decision for us. Yoon Chujo did not expect Yoon Chuki to perform so well. She gave Yoon Chuki 32 likes in her heart. My seventh sister definitely has a future. Her acting skills aren't inferior to mine. Yoon Chujo jumped out from behind Elder Chu. She hugged Yoon Chuki and started wailing. Seventh sister, stop talking. You're making things difficult for the sect master. Can't you see that the sect master of the Heavenly Gate sect has brought a group of people here? They're planning to kill us. Our lives are so miserable. The corner of Master Zuanyuan's eyes twitched violently and he coughed dryly. Don't cry anymore. I'll find out the truth and give you justice. Yoon Chujo immediately stopped wailing after hearing what Master Xinyuan said. She dragged Yoon Chu and the others behind the elders of Spirit Radiance sect, so that they would not be hurt by the people of Heavenly Gate sect. Master Xinyuan sneered, Master Du, you've heard what happened. If we want justice, it should be our sect asking for it from your sect. However, since the culprit has already been punished, let's forget about it. Du Gai laughed coldly. Master Xinyuan, this is just your side of the story. After all, we haven't seen what happened in the mystic realm with our own eyes. The deaths of Zhang Xiong and the others are indeed related to Yoon Chujo and the others. I have a presumptuous request. Hand the 4 of them over to me and we'll take them back to Heavenly Gate sect. This matter will be treated as if it never happened. Otherwise, our Heavenly sect will cut off your sect's earth fire supply. The people from Spirit Radiance sect were instantly enraged. Earth fire was different from ordinary fire, and was especially suitable for refining pills and weapons. Although refining flints could also be used to refine pills, they were not cheap. Secondly, refining flints were not as stable as earth fire, so higher-level pills would be more stable if made with earth fire. Refining pills was still fine. Refining weapons was where the trouble was at. Refining flints could only be used to refine some low-grade spirit weapons, and spirit weapons above middle grade could only be refined with earth fire. The Heavenly Gate sect happened to control an earth fire mountain range, so many sects and forces paid a fee for Heavenly Gate sect to send them earth fire in special containers. If Heavenly Gate sect really stopped providing earth fire to them, it would be a great loss to Spirit Radiance sect. Du Gai saw that the people from Spirit Radiance sect were bewildered. A smug look flashed in his eyes. I'm not an unreasonable person. After all, our 2 sects have always been on good terms. I'll provide your sect with 2 choices. One is to hand over Yoon Chujo and the other 2, and the other is to give 1/10 of Spirit Radiance sect's share of spirit stones to Heavenly Gate sect. Chapter 361. Fire Spirit Beast. Master Xinyuan and the other elders immediately understood Heavenly Gate sect's intentions. They were using the death of Zhang Xiong and the others as an excuse to force Spirit Radiance sect to transfer 1/10 of their spirit stones. The Heavenly Gate sect was really despicable. If they wanted to fight and kill, Spirit Radiance sect was not afraid of them. However, earth fire only existed in Heavenly Gate sect's territory. They were basically forcing Spirit Radiance sect to give up their share of spirit stones. 1/10 of their spirit stones was not a small amount. Most importantly, it was a long-term effective share. It could not be calculated with numbers. They were truly sinister. No matter what, Heavenly Gate sect was not at a loss. If Spirit Radiance sect handed over Yoon Chujo and the others, then their reputation would plummet. The disciples would have no sense of belonging to such a sect. If they did not hand over the 4 people, then they could only give up their share of spirit stones. Otherwise, Spirit Radiance sect would encounter huge obstacles in refining pills and weapons. Although Master Xianyuan was anxious in his heart, his expression was calm. Master Dugu, everyone has come from afar. It's better rest at the guest house first. It won't be too late for us to discuss this even after discussing what had happened. Du Gai was full of confidence. He sneered arrogantly and left with the people of Heavenly Gate sect. Master Xianyuan comforted Yoon Chu and the other 2 and gestured for them to leave first. However, he kept Yoon Chujo behind. Everyone, what do you think? Master Xianyuan looked at everyone. The Heavenly Gate sect is really going too far. Naturally, we can't hand them over. These 4 children are clearly victims. Moreover, those bastards deserve to die. Even if little Joe killed them, It would still be a good kill. That's right, we definitely can't hand them over. The Heavenly Gate sect has been planning this for a long time. Even if there isn't such a thing, they will find other excuses to blackmail us. This earth fire being controlled by people was bound to be a drawback sooner or later. Without earth fire, refining pills would still fine, but refining weapons would come to a halt. If we were to buy spirit weapons, it would be too expensive. Secondly, there would also be hidden dangers if we bought from outsiders. But 1/10 of the spirit stone share is really a huge loss. The Heavenly Gate sect has a huge appetite. Moreover, with this, it's inevitable that they will repeat their old tricks in the future. They will gradually erode our spirit stone share. Without the support of the spirit stones, Spirit Radiance sect will be in danger. Yun Chujo raised her claws and asked weakly, "Everyone, can I ask, what exactly is earth fire? Why does only Heavenly Gate sect have it? Can't we use something else to replace it? There's a strange beast called the Fire Spirit Beast in Qingxian continent. The Fire Spirit Beast feeds on ores, and after it digests the ores, it will burn on its own. Over time, it will form an endless stream of earth fire." Master Xinyuan explained. Yun Chujo rubbed her chin and blinked her eyes. "You mean to say that the earth fire is the burning Fire Spirit Beast's dregs?" The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Why did they feel that the earth fire was so wretched after Yun Chujia's explanation? Master Xinyuan coughed dryly. "You can think of it that way too. Then why don't we just catch a Fire Spirit Beast? Why do we have to suffer the wrath of Heavenly Gate sect?" Yun Chujo asked in confusion. Firstly, these beasts are extremely rare, and secondly, they are extremely difficult to catch. It's not only us. The other factions have also sent out large numbers of people to search for them, but they have all returned empty-handed. For thousands of years, only the Heavenly Gate sect managed to catch one by chance. "Why don't we steal the one from the Heavenly Gate sect?" Yun Chujo said slyly. Everyone was speechless. Chapter 362. Candidates to go to the fire cave. The Fire Spirit Beast is extremely stubborn. Once it has identified a nest, it will not easily move. Moreover, it lives in the earth fire all year round. Even the people of the Heavenly Gate sect rarely see the beast appear. What's more, us. Even if we can find it, it'll be difficult to capture it in the raging earth fire. Moreover, Heavenly Gate sect is guarding it tightly. We have no chance to take action. Yun Chujo nodded. In this case, stealing was definitely not an option. Master Xinyuan, the Heavenly Gate sect came with bad intentions. Why don't we delay it for a month and use this month to find the Fire Essence Beast? If we can find it, everyone will be happy. In the future, we won't have to succumb to Heavenly Gate sect anymore. Even if we can't find it, we can use the month to think of other ways to solve this. Yun Chujo said as she rolled her eyes. Master Xinyuan and the others discussed for a while but could not think of any good ideas, so they could only do as Yun Chujo suggested. The next morning, the people of the two sects began to discuss again. Dugai asked with a hint of pride, "Master Xinyuan, I wonder how the discussion is going in your sect? Are you going to hand over the people or the share of spirit stones?" Dugai had a 99% chance of winning. This is just the beginning. Our Heavenly Gate sect would exterminate these forces one by one sooner or later. As long as we use the earth fire to blackmail you, I'm not afraid that you won't comply. Master Xinyuan smiled faintly. We definitely want hand over our people. Naturally, we won't give up our share of spirit stones as well. Dugai snorted coldly. So you're giving up on the earth fire? Fine. Since that's the case, there's nothing more to say. Farewell. Wait. Dugai, we both know exactly how Zhang Xiong and the others died. There are some things that can't be said openly. Your Heavenly Gate sect relied on the benefits of the earth fire to plunder so much. Why don't you invite everyone here and well evaluate the situation properly? Master Zuanyuan's face darkened slightly. His tone became unfriendly as well. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The earth fire belongs to Heavenly Gate sect. We can sell it to whoever we want. No one can find fault with our sect. Even though Dugai said that, he was still unwilling to make a big deal out of this matter. Sect masters, please calm down. Please listen to me. Elder Chu came out to act as a peacemaker. Master Xianyuan and Du Gai both snorted coldly and did not speak anymore. Sect Master Du Gai, the incident happened so suddenly that Spirit Radiance sect was caught off guard. Everyone's opinions are also not unanimous. Why don't we give it a few more months to discuss before we decide on an answer? Elder Chu was shrewd, using the words "a few months" to bargain. Du Gai's eyes flickered, and after weighing the pros and cons, he sneered and said, "All right. For the sake of our friendship, I'll give you a month's time. If after a month you won't hand over your people nor share of spirit stones, then we'll cut off your earth fire supply." Du Gai stood up and left. Before he left, Elder Zhang cast a sinister glance at Yun Chujio, his eyes filled with killing intent. Su Yinran also sneered. "Yun Chujio, even if Spirit Radiance sect doesn't hand you over, they will still vent their anger on you because of the lost and share of spirit stones. You will never have a bright future." After the people from Heavenly Gate sect left, those from Spirit Radiance sect began to discuss their next plan. First, Elder Jean from the refining department should quickly forge some important spirit tools just in case. Second, Elder Qi from the refining room should also refine all the high-grade spirit herbs he has. Third, he'll personally visit the other major factions to see if there's any change in the situation. Last but not least, and most importantly, send a group of people to the fire cave to capture the fire spirit beasts. Who is willing to lead the team? Everyone looked at each other. It was not that they were afraid of danger. It was that this operation was very important to Spirit Radiance sect. They had to weigh their own weight. Chapter 363. Beating the crap out of people. Elder Shao stood and said, "Sect Master, I'll go. I went with my master once before. Although I didn't successfully capture the fire spirit beast, I've grasped some rules. Maybe I can use my knowledge." Master Xianyuan nodded. He thought for a while and said, "Elder Shao and Elder Chu will lead the team and recruit an additional 2 elders from each peak. Bring all the new disciples who have been promoted to the inner sect with you. Tell the public that you'll lead the new disciples for the trial. It's urgent. We'll set off early tomorrow morning." Yun Chujio stretched out her little claws. "Bring me along too." Master Xianyuan nodded. "Sure. But you can't mess around. Your safety is the most important thing." Yun Chujio nodded, but she was cursing in her heart. Why did everyone have to tell her not to mess around? When had she ever messed around? Seriously. Maybe she would make a great contribution this time. At that time, she would ride back on the fire spirit beast and blind everyone's eyes. Early the next morning, Elder Shao and Elder Chu led 10 elders, 29 new disciples, and an extra Yun Chujio, and left Spirit Radiance sect on a flying spirit tool. And Feng looked at the flying spirit tool that had gone into the distance and quickly followed it. This Miss Jiu is really troublesome. Where is she going? He was puzzled. Every time Miss Jiu was in danger, why was he unable to help because of restrictions? Could it be that heavens had arranged it on purpose? After setting out, Elder Chu finally told everyone the purpose of this trip. Having you disciples here was just a ploy to deceive others. The fire cave is far from Spirit Radiance sect and will take at least 10 days of travel. Every 1 or 2 days I'll take you guys out for a walk. All of you should be careful with your words and actions, and don't cause any trouble." Everyone nodded, but when the elders returned to their cabins, Baimoru said unhappily, "Yun Chujio, it's you again. If you didn't provoke the people of Heavenly Gate sect, would our sect be threatened by them? If I were you, I would take the initiative to commit suicide so as not to implicate the sect." Yun Chushan said softly from the side, "Junior sister Bai, don't say that. This person is selfish. She would not be willing to sacrifice herself. It's useless for you to even say this since some people are very thick-skinned. In the past, they've implicated the family at home. Now they're implicating the sect." After everyone heard Elder Chu's words, they already felt a slight resentment toward Yun Chujio and the others. Now that they heard what Baimoru and Yun Chushan said, they felt that their words were not completely unreasonable. That's right, why should the sect take the blame for your trouble? Yun Chu, Yun Chuki and Su Yun blushed. They felt very guilty already, and now that they saw everyone's condemning and contemptuous gazes, they felt even more embarrassed. "Are you guys done?" Yun Chujio asked indifferently. Baimoru snorted coldly. We're done. Could it be that what we said was wrong? Yun Chujio suddenly stretched out her hand and gave Baimoru and Yun Chushan 2 tight slaps. Then she kicked them away. The 2 of them crashed into the wall and fell to the ground. All of this happened in a flash. Baimayu, who was standing next to them, did not even have time to react when he saw Baimoru and Yun Chushan lying on the ground and screaming. Yun Chujio, what are you doing? Baimayu shouted angrily. What are you doing? Teach them not to talk nonsense in the future. Do you have a problem with that? Do you want me to teach you too? Yun Chujio hugged her shoulders and shook her legs arrogantly. Chapter 364. How could I be wrong? A few male disciples helped Baimoru and Yun Chushan to their feet. Yun Chushan questioned them with tears in her eyes. Yun Chujio, how are we talking nonsense? If it weren't for the few of you, would Heavenly Gate sect come to threaten Spirit Radiance sect? Those male disciples also glared at them angrily. That's right. Yun Chujio, it's your fault to begin with. What's wrong with what junior sister Bai and junior sister Yun said? What right do you have to hit people? Yun Chujio ignored the male disciples and looked at the Bai siblings and Yun Chushan. She said coldly, have you heard of this saying? If you want to condemn someone, don't worry about the pretext. Heavenly Gate sect is just looking for trouble. Moreover, we didn't kill that bullshit of a person, Zhang Xiong. If we really traced it back, the culprit should be the 3 of you. When my 5th sister and the others were entangled by Zhang Xiong and the others, they originally wanted to crush the Jade Token to escape, but you guys said that you wanted to help deal with those 5 people. Unexpectedly, the 3 of you actually abandoned your fellow disciples and ran away with your tails between your legs. That was why 5th sister and the others were caught by Zhang Xiong and his posy. If anyone were to commit suicide to atone for their crimes, it should be the 3 of you scums who didn't care about the lives of your fellow disciples. The 3 of you are already habitual criminals. When you met Su Yinran later, didn't you also run away like cowards? How could you shameless people say that about us? You're truly shameless. 5th sister, 7th sister and senior sister Su, lift up your heads. We didn't do anything wrong. Why should we be the victims and let others slander us? Chen Duchuan and the others also came forward to confirm. That's right. At that time, Su Yinran forced us to hand over junior sister Little Jiu. Baimayu and the other 2 ran the fastest. At that time, he also admitted that he didn't save junior sister Su Yun and the others. When Baimayu saw that Chan Duchuan and the others stood on Yun Chujia's side, his eyes flickered a few times. He snorted coldly and said, those who are honest will know. No matter what the situation was at that time, the people that the Heavenly Gate sect wants now are the few of you, Yun Chujio. No matter what you say, it's still an excuse. Yun Chujio, you violated the sect rules by beating your fellow disciples. Just wait to be punished. Baimoru and Yun Chushan's admirers had already gone to invite Elder Shao and Elder Chu over. After a while, the elders pushed open the door and entered. Baimoru and Yun Chushan hurriedly knelt down. Yun Chujio beat the 2 of us for no reason. Elder Shao, Elder Chu, please do us justice. Elder Shao frowned. What's going on? Baimayu also quickly knelt down and said, Elder Shao. Moru and junior sister Yun only vented a few words of dissatisfaction. Although those words weren't very pleasant to hear, Yun Chujio shouldn't have beaten her fellow disciples. She even threatened to beat her disciples further. Baimoru and Yun Chushan's admirers spoke up one after another, confirming that what Baimayu said was true. Yun Chuzi, Chanduchuan, and the others wanted to speak up for Yun Chujio, but they realized that Baimayu's words were watertight. They did not know what to say. Everyone was extremely worried. No matter what the reason was, Yun Chujio had violated the sect's rules. They were afraid that she would be punished. Elder Shao frowned. This Yun Chujio was really troublesome. Yun Chujio, do you know your mistake? Yun Chujia's small body was straight. Her small neck was raised. What mistake did I make? The Bai siblings and Yun Chushan had left them in the mystic realm to die and escaped at the last minute. Now they've bewitched the hearts of the people and dividing our disciples. It's simply a heinous crime. I've already done my utmost to not kill them. Even if Baimayu and the other 2 are in the wrong, the law enforcement agency will punish them. What right do you have to use torture on your own? Elder Xiao was a righteous person, and was very disgusted by actions that violated the sect rules. Bai Moya's eyes flashed with a smug look. Yun Chujiu, you originally provoked the Heavenly Gate sect, and the sect leader and elders were already dissatisfied with you. You actually dare to speak up for yourself when you violated sect rules. Just wait to be punished. Chapter 365. Fire Edelweiss Yun Chuzi and the others were extremely worried. Just as they were about to kneel down and plead on behalf of Yun Chujiu said to Elder Xiao with a smile, Elder Xiao, can I have a word with you? Bai Mayu secretly pursed his lips. Can I have a word with you? Will Elder Xiao still listen to you? Unexpectedly, Elder Xiao saw Yun Chujiu desperately winking at him. He did not know what Yun Chujiu was up to, so he could only take Yun Chujiu out of the room. Little Pancharan, I know that the Bai siblings are related to you, but these two are ingrates. And that Yun Chushan is not a good person. You don't have to do much. You'll know after observing her. In a while you can just symbolically punish me. I'm doing this for the sake of Spirit Radiance sect. I'll give up my own reputation. Isn't it easy to deal with me? Elder Xiao was confused by Yun Chujiu's words. What nonsense was she talking about? However, when Yun Chujiu called out Little Pancher, Elder Xiao instantly became 3 times smaller. Yun Chujiu did not need to call out her seniority. Not long after, the two of them returned to the room. Elder Xiao's face was livid as he said, Yun Chujiu used torture on her own accord and will be withheld of half a year's worth of sect resources. As for the matters within the mystic realm, I'll only punish her after I've investigated thoroughly. After Elder Xiao finished speaking, he did not wait for the others to react. He flicked his sleeves and left. Seeing this, Elder Chu and the others also left. Yun Chujiu hugged her shoulders and shook her calves. She said arrogantly, by more Yun Chushan, if you continue to spout nonsense, I'll give up the sect's resources for the next 10 years and beat you to the ground. Bai Moore was furious. Elder Xiao was clearly an old friend of her grandfather, but she did not expect him to help Yun Chujiu. How hateful! Bai Moya's eyes flickered. There was no proof of what was said in the secret realm, and Elder Xiao could not do anything to them. The most important thing now was to get rid of Yun Chujiu. As long as he got rid of Yun Chujiu, Yanran would continue to give him that magical pill, and it would not be long before he could break through again. These new inner sect disciples were divided into 3 groups. The Bai siblings and Yun Chushan were one group, and the followers were mainly male disciples who were interested in Bai Moru and Yun Chushan. Yun Chujiu was one group. Aside from the Yun siblings Qing Si and Su Yun, there were also Chandachuan and the other 8 people. The remaining 3 people, Liao Chuan and Mo Zhua and Xiao Mufeng, had a very close relationship, so the 3 of them formed a group. In the first few days of the journey, they would stop and walk to find some valleys and forests. They would let these disciples hunt demonic beasts and carry out trials. Occasionally, they would stay overnight in some towns for everyone to relax and let their guards down. In fact, Elder Xiao and Elder Chu knew that this tactic would only confuse the Heavenly Gate sect for a few days. In the end, they would be able to guess the direction of the group with just one look at the route. However, a few days was enough, at least when they want to send people to intercept them, it would already be too late. After more than 10 days, they flew to a fiery valley. As soon as they got off the flying spirit tool, they felt a wave of heat. As far as their eyes could see, the entire valley was scarlet red. At first, they thought it was earth fire, but after taking a closer look, they realized that it was a kind of scarlet red grass. It was never-ending and looked quite spectacular. These are fire Edelweiss. The juice is extremely poisonous. If it gets into a wound or if you accidentally ingest it, it'll instantly be fatal. You guys should be careful. Elder Xiao said seriously. Everyone nodded in agreement. Bai Moya's eyes flickered. This fire Edelweiss was a good thing. When no one was paying attention, Bai Mayu pretended to tidy up his boots and pulled out a few fire Edelweiss to hide in his storage bag. Chapter 366. Red Flame Ants. The fire cave was located deep in the fire valley. After walking for almost a day, they finally arrived at the entrance of the cave. The temperature was getting higher and higher. The elder's spiritual power was better, But the disciples were in a sorry state. They kept wiping their sweat. Yun Chujio was the only one who was leisurely and walking as if nothing happened. The elders were amazed. The heavenly thunder root spirit was really different. To outsiders, Yun Chujio's spiritual power was only at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. The disciples were puzzled. Why is Yun Chujio's spiritual power the lowest, yet nothing's happening to her? That's really strange. The cave is extremely dangerous. You must follow closely behind us and don't act rashly. If anyone dares to act without permission, the sect will punish them. Elder Shao said sternly. Everyone nodded and carefully tailed the elders into the fire cave. Yun Chujio looked around curiously. The scenery inside the fire cave was really unique. The ground was uneven and filled with holes the size of eggs. Above it, there were many jade-like objects hanging down. They were white as snow and sparkling. This girl was trying her best not to break off a few of them. They looked very valuable. Everything remained calm even after they had walked for some time. Nothing happened. Baimoru whispered. It's not as scary as it was made to sound. In fact, these stones hanging from the ceiling looks really nice. Junior sister Bai is right. This fire cave is just a so-so. It's no big deal. Wait for me. A male disciple called Lu Yongsheng said ingratiatingly. Baimoru's heart skipped a beat, and she slowed down her footsteps. The two waited for the person in front to walk a little further away before Lu Yongsheng jumped up and broke one of the stones. He said fawningly, Junior sister, this is for you. Just as Baimoru was about to reach out to receive it, the ground suddenly trembled. Immediately after, several red flame ants drilled themselves out from the holes in the ground. Each ant was half a foot long and had a pair of sharp teeth. Baimoru was so scared that she ran away. The ants did not attack her and instead went straight for Lu Yongsheng. The people in front only heard a scream. When they turned around, they saw that Lu Yongsheng's body was densely covered in red ants. Before they could react, only Lu Yongsheng's skeleton was left. Those ants were not done with the skeleton. In the blink of an eye, only Lu Yongsheng's storage bag was left on the ground. Baimoru ran in front of everyone. Her face was pale and her entire body was trembling. No, it's not my fault. He was the one who insisted on breaking the jade-like stones. The disciples were stunned by the scene in front of them. Although none of them were cowards and had even killed people with their own hands, the scene in front of them was still too terrifying. Lu Yongsheng did not even have a chance to resist and was immediately gnawed by those ants. It was too terrifying. Elder Qi of the East Peak explained, the white thing on top is not some jade stone, but the eggs of the red flame ants. They usually feed on the fire edelweiss plant and ores underground. As long as their eggs aren't touched, they won't attack humans or demon beasts. You mustn't touch anything in this cave. Otherwise you'll end up like that disciple. This time round there was no need to emphasize anymore. These disciples were very obedient and followed the elders carefully. Yun Chujio felt extremely lucky. Damn, it's a good thing that I held back and didn't make a move. It was a close call. As expected, one shouldn't be too greedy. Chapter 367. Furnace Hot Pot. After walking for another 4 hours, the number of holes in the ground began to decrease, and the number of white jade stones above their heads also began to decrease. Everyone could not help but heave a sigh of relief. They had finally left the territory of the red flame ants. Everyone, rest here for a while and replenish your strength. There will be fire serpents appearing ahead. Get ready. Elder Shao was the first to sit down on the ground. After eating a fasting pill and drinking some water, he began to meditate and rest. Everyone also took out fasting pills or dry rations and began to eat. Everyone took a deep breath. Why did it smell so good? Everyone followed the smell and looked over. But they were all dumbfounded. They saw Yun Chujio taking out an alchemy furnace and placing a few flint stones under it. Soon, the water in the alchemy furnace began to bubble. What was Yun Chujio doing? Alchemy? Obviously not. Was she cooking noodles? Using an alchemy furnace to cook noodles? Was there really such a thing? Yun Chujio slowly took out a few plates of thin sliced meat from her storage ring and placed them in the alchemy furnace. Then she took out a small bowl with a long-prepared dipping sauce. Yun Chujo dipped the sliced meat into the dipping sauce and started eating happily. Everyone was dumbfounded. Don't even talk about using an alchemy furnace as a hot pot. The fire cave was already extremely hot, yet you're actually eating meat slices from a hot pot. Are you crazy? Elder Chu smelled the fragrance and went over. Little Joe, this meat slice is really fragrant, but aren't you feeling warm? It's because it's warm that I want to eat hot. Fighting poison with poison. This is very comfortable. Do you want to try some? Yun Chujo ate happily. Elder Chu was waiting for Yun Chujo to say that. Hehe, then I'll try it. Yun Chujo helped Elder Chu scoop a small bowl of soup with meat slices. Elder Chu followed Yun Chujo and dipped the meat slices into the sauce and put it into his mouth. Delicious. It's really delicious. The two foodies, one old and one young, ate a total of 10 plates of meat slices. Elder Chu was sweating profusely from eating, but Yun Chujo only had small beads of sweat on her forehead. The heat of the fire cave was far inferior to the heat of being struck by lightning. Moreover, Yun Chujo had the beads spat out by the strange grass in her sleeve. She had relied on it to dispel the extreme heat in the Mystic Realm desert last time. Some disciples smelled the fragrance, and when they saw that Yun Chujo was enjoying her meal, they covertly swallowed their saliva. It was very fragrant. They would definitely give it a try when they went back. Yun Chujio's spiritual power was not that great, but she was definitely very good at eating. Elder Shao looked at the two random foodies and frowned. He endured it and did not say anything. After Yun Chujo had eaten and drunk her fill, she put away the pill refining furnace and took out a recliner. She happily lay on it and closed her eyes to rest. Everyone was so angry that they were twitching. Did you come to catch fire spirit beasts or go sightseeing? This is really too random. Bai Moya's eyes revealed a trace of malice. Keep showing off, Yun Chujo. You have the lowest spiritual power among us. When the time comes, I'll do something to you, and this fire cave will be your burial ground. After an hour, everyone continued walking. Ahead is the territory of the fire serpent. Although it is only a tier 2 demonic beast, they live in groups and exist in large numbers. Therefore, we have to end the battle quickly and not linger around. Sure enough, after everyone walked for a distance, the fire serpents began to attack them. The fire serpents had a cluster of fire markings on their heads, and they could swallow and spit fireballs. Although their grades were not high, everyone's movements were limited in the fire cave. On top of the large number of fire serpents, they definitely added a lot of trouble to everyone. Yun Chuzi and the others protected Yun Chujo in the middle. Yun Chujo, who was thick-skinned, did not feel embarrassed at all. Instead, she kept putting the bodies of the fire serpents that they had killed into her storage ring. Although these fire serpents were of low grades, they aren't available anywhere else. Perhaps they can be sold for a good price. This fellow had long forgotten what she had said before about not being too greedy. Chapter 368. The book that Yun Chujo read by Mayu tried several times to lure the fire serpent to Yun Chujia's side but failed. He was afraid that he would attract the attention of others, so he had to give up temporarily. 2 hours later, they finally passed through the fire serpent's area. After walking for a while, the path ahead suddenly became clear. Several small holes appeared on the wall above their heads. Sunlight shone through the small holes, making the scene incredibly beautiful. Elder Shao, why are there so many small holes on the wall? An elder asked curiously. Elder Shao explained. The nest of the fire-breathing eagles is on the wall. These small holes were pecked out by them over thousands of years. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. Those fire-breathing eagles are probably sick. Do they have a bad habit of grinding their teeth while sleeping? The corner of Elder Shao's eyes twitched. The reason why they pecked out these holes is that their eggs need a large amount of heat to hatch. They use the rising heat here to do that. Yun Chujo curled her lips. With such a high temperature, wouldn't the babies turn into steamed eggs before it hatches? Elder Shao glared at her fiercely. The temperature ahead is increasing. With your spiritual power, it's difficult to resist the high temperature inside. Moreover, the demonic beasts ahead are at least level 5. You can't deal with them either. Due to the presence of the fire-breathing eagles, those fire serpents won't come here. Moreover, The environment here is special, so there won't be any high-level demonic beasts. You guys just wait here. If we have not come out after 3 days, I'm afraid we've met our demise. You guys go back to the sect then. Liao Chuan, you're the oldest here. You keep this flying spirit tool well. When the time comes, you'll control this flying spirit tool and bring them back to the sect. Liao Chuan nodded in agreement. Elder Chu then set up a protective array around everyone before leaving. Yun Chujiu took out a recliner from her storage ring and laid down happily on it. She then took out the storybook she had bought on the way and started reading. When everyone saw the words on the cover, the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. Shockingly, the words they saw were "Me and my 3,000 beautiful male cultivation furnaces." What were written on it? Yun Chujiu, you're actually reading such a dirty book. You're really shameless. Bai Moru said in disdain. Junior sister Bai, have you forgotten? She has always been like this. In the past, she pestered senior brother Bai and ran all over the city. A few days ago, I heard that she even seduced some young Master D. She really has no sense of shame. Yun Chushan hated Yun Chujiu to death in her heart. What right did she have? Clearly, a good-for-nothing was not only favored by the family head in the clan, but she actually became a true disciple in Spirit Radiance sect. Were these people blind? Yun Chujiu shifted her gaze from the book to the two of them and said slowly, either you shut your mouths yourselves, or I'll help you shut your mouths forever. Bai Moru was about to fly into a rage when Bai Mayu said coldly, Mer, junior sister Yun, say no more. Everyone has their own judgment on what's right and wrong. Just now at the fire serpent's place, not only did Yun Chujiu not lend a hand, she even took away the fire serpent's corpse. It could be said that she's extremely selfish. There's no need to argue with such a person. Yun Chujiu raised her eyebrows. Who else has a problem with me? Do you think I'm selfish? Bai Mayu and the others immediately scolded Yun Chujiu for being selfish. Yun Chuki and the others naturally had to protect Yun Chujiu and fiercely argued with her. Liao Chuan and the other two did not say anything. It was obvious that they did not want to participate in the dispute between the two factions. Enough! Stop arguing. Since you guys said I'm selfish, then I'll be selfish. I originally planned to divide the serpents I collected equally with everyone. After all, these fire serpents are considered rare and precious. Since you guys are so selfless, then I won't include you when I divide them. Without you guys, we can each get a little more. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Chapter 369. If you want to know if someone's dead, you have to see their corpse. By Mayu and the others were instantly dumbfounded. Yun Chujiu actually gave out the fire serpents in her storage ring to everyone right in front of them. Chandachuan and the others were extremely excited. Fire serpents were rarely seen in the market, so it would bring in huge profits. Liao Chuan and the other two were also very surprised. However, none of them had any enmity regarding the spirit stones, so they kept the serpents after thanking Yun Chujiu. Bai Moru said angrily, Yun Chujiu, we killed some of them too. Why don't you give them to us? Yun Chujiu looked at her as if she was looking at an idiot. Aren't you a selfless person? Do you care about these things? Right, you always care about yourself. How did that Lu Yongsheng die? I don't believe that a man like him would break those so-called jade stones for no reason. Yun Chujiu pointed at the male disciples beside Bai Moru and said, TSK, you guys are still citing her. You really have such short memory. The male disciples recalled Lu Yongsheng's death and could not help but feel scared. Yun Chushan said softly from the side, this Yun Chujiu is used to twisting reality. Senior brother Liu's death was just an accident. What does it have to do with Moru? Moru was also scared. Bai Moru quickly teared and said sorrowfully, Yun Chujiu, you're slandering me. I'm also very sad that senior brother Lu is dead, but I have no ability to save him. That's right. Yun Chujiu, don't talk nonsense. It was senior brother Lu who was careless and provoked those red flame ants. It has nothing to do with junior sister Bai. The male disciples saw Bai Moru's charming face full of tears and immediately threw their rationality to the back of their minds. Yun Chujiu could not be bothered with these idiots. She could not persuade those damn imbeciles with words, so she picked up her book and continued reading. Time passed quickly. On the third day, everyone began to worry. Elder Xiao and the others still had not returned. Could it be that they were really doomed? Everyone's mood gradually fell. Yun Chujiu felt that the situation was not great either. Even if they did not catch the fire spirit beast, Elder Xiao and the others should have returned. Why were they not back yet? Could it be that they had encountered some powerful demonic beast? On the morning of the fourth day, Liao Chuan gritted his teeth. Junior brothers and sisters, I'm afraid that the elders have already met their demise. According to Elder Xiao's instructions, we will return by the same route. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed as she followed everyone and began to walk out. Although they had encountered some trouble with the fire serpents, they still managed to successfully exit the fire cave. Liao Chuan called out the flying spirit tool, and everyone boarded it with heavy hearts. Little Joe, what are you waiting for? Come on up. Yun Chuki saw that Yun Chujiu was still standing idly, so she quickly called out. Yun Chujiu smiled at her, and then said to Liao Chuan, who was standing beside her and had yet to board the flying spirit tool, Senior brother Liao, I won't go back with you guys. I want to go in and see how Elder Xiao and the others are doing. Liao Chuan was stunned at first, then he said seriously, Junior sister Xiao Jiu, your intention is good. But since Elder Xiao and the others didn't come out in one piece, it means that the situation inside must be very dangerous. Your spiritual power is low. Aren't you just sending yourself to death? Hearing Yun Chuki's words, Yun Chuki and the others also ran down from the spirit tool. Little Joe, don't mess around. This isn't a joke. Yun Chujiu said slowly and firmly, I have to go in. I want to see people when I'm alive and I want to see corpses when I'm dead. I can't just disappear like this. Don't worry, I have the spirit tool that the sect leader gave me. It's enough to protect my life. Chapter 370. Get lost. Yun Chuzi and the others knew that Yun Chuji's decision would not change, so they said one after another, Little Joe, if that's the case, then we'll go in with you. Yun Chujiu shook her head. No. The spiritual weapon on me can only ensure my own safety. Don't worry, I cherish my life very much. If I see that the situation isn't good, I'll definitely retreat. Liao Chuan recalled that in the previous trial, Yun Chujiu had come out of the mystic realm, and she had even brought out the inner core of a Tier 8 demonic beast. His heart moved. Perhaps this junior sister Little Joe was not as mediocre as they thought. Otherwise, she would not have become a successor disciple. Liao Chuan thought of this and said, Junior sister Little Joe, since you've made up your mind, I won't stop you. We won't leave this place for the time being and we'll wait for you for another 3 days. If you still don't come out after 3 days, well, leave. Yun Chujiu nodded. Liao Chuan was a good person. He was both smart and had morals. Yun Chujiu immediately entered the fire cave again. Bai Mayu, who was on the flying spirit tool, had a twinkle in his eyes. He originally wanted to use the fire Edelweiss to do something, but he did not expect her to be so stupid as to go in and save the elders. She was really courting death. And Feng, who was hiding in the corner, wanted to cry but had no tears. Oh my God, what are you doing? How could a fire spirit beast be so easy to catch? It must be very dangerous. You're just a small fry. Aren't you sending yourself to your death? And Feng had no choice but to tail Yun Chujiu and enter the fire cave. Yun Chujiu began to speed up. Time was life. If she delayed any longer, something untoward might happen. Soon she arrived at the fire serpent's territory. When they saw that Yun Chujiu was alone, they all spat out their tongues and crawled over. Fuck off. Yun Chujiu stretched out her hand and shot out a few purple lightning bolts. These fire serpents lived in this fire cave all year round, so they had never seen purple lightning bolts before. They were immediately scared and scattered in all directions. After Yun Chujiu scared away the fire serpents, she quickly continued to run forward. And Feng, who was tailing her, clicked his tongue. My God, judging from what Miss Zhou did just now, she should have at least the spiritual power of a second-level spirit cultivator. Miss Zhou only used a little more than a year's time to go from a trash who had no spiritual power to a second-level spirit cultivator. This speed of cultivation was simply frightening. Yun Chujiu ran as fast as she could. As she ran, she put on the birthday gift that she had bought from others. There were more than 10 hairpins on her head, 7 or 8 necklaces on her neck, more than 10 bracelets on her wrists, and a few colorful sashes on her waist. After this fellow finished dressing up, she felt much more confident. With her outfit, even if she encountered a Tier 8 demon beast, she could drag it to death. And Feng, who was watching from behind, was dumbfounded. My God! Where did Miss Zhou get so many defensive spirit tools? Did she steal from the Spirit Tool Pavilion of Spirit Radiance sect? Yun Chuzhou encountered a few waves of demon beasts along the way. Relying on the purple heavenly lightning and the defensive spirit tools, she passed through without much effort. I don't know how deep this damn fire cave is. I've been running for almost a day, but I still haven't reached the end. Yun Chuzhou was really tired from running, so she found a relatively safe place to sit down and rest. Rolling pin, if only you could become bigger. I can sit on it and rest. Now I can only stand on you. I really can't use it in this cave. Yun Chuzhou muttered. The rolling pin said weakly, Master, since you've leveled up, I'll naturally level up. I can grow bigger. Yun Chuzhou was so angry that her nose was almost crooked. You can fucking grow bigger? Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me run like a little donkey for an entire day. Chapter 371. The 6-piece wool set. Yun Chuzhou took out the rolling pin from her storage ring. The rolling pin floated in the air and slowly turned into a large chopping board. Yun Chuzhou jumped onto the board. It was just enough to sit her. This girl could not help but curse in her heart. Fortunately, she was thin. Otherwise, she really would not be able to sit down. Little flame, just fly straight. I'll meditate and rest. If anything comes up, just holler. Yun Chuzhou began to meditate and rest. And Feng was miserable. He stuffed a pill into his mouth and relentlessly tailed her. Master! There are demonic beasts ahead. Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes and saw several black demonic beasts lying on the ground in front of her. Yun Chuzhou had seen this type of demonic beast in the Demonic Beast Atlas at the library. It was a mountain drilling dragon. A Tier 6 demonic beast. It lived in groups, and its innate ability was not only to dig holes. It could also spit out a form of sticky silk that was extremely difficult to deal with. Ordinary swords and sabers would not be able to cut through it and would get stuck in it. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes. Little flame, keep flying forward. I'll deal with them. The chopping board continued flying forward rapidly, and the mountain drilling dragon started spitting sticky silk toward the chopping board one after another. Yun Chuzhou raised her spiritual energy barrier and blocked the sticky silk from reaching the chopping board. She thought that the sticky silk would not be able to do anything to her. Unexpectedly, several sticky threads actually dragged the spiritual energy shield down slowly. Oh my God, is this some sort of sick game? Yun Chuzhou quickly waved her right hand. Little Zhou Thunderbolt. The mountain drilling dragons were initially shocked by the lightning and became frazzled. One by one, they began to drill into the underground cave. Yun Chuzhou was very proud. Little beasts, no matter how powerful you are, you're still no match for me. Yun Chuzhou did not stay proud for long. A sharp cry came from the ground. Then, an even bigger mountain drilling dragon appeared. After hearing its call, the other mountain drilling dragons also came out of the cave. They spat out sticky threads at Yun Chuzhou, who was floating in the air again. Yun Chuzhou had to use her lightning trick again. Although she had killed a few mountain drilling dragons and had cut off some of the sticky threads, they continued to spit at her under the command of the king beast. Yun Chuzhou had just cut off a few sticky threads when a large amount of sticky threads wrapped around her. Yun Chuzhou was getting a little worried. If she put down her spiritual energy barrier, she could be stuck by these sticky threads at any moment. However, if she did not, her spiritual energy would eventually be exhausted. Regardless, the result would still be the same. These mountain drilling dragons were really difficult to deal with. And Feng, who was behind her, was about to help her when the situation suddenly reversed. A ball of wool appeared between Yun Chuzhou's eyebrows and happily used its little claws to pull the sticky threads. As it pulled, it shouted, "This is my favorite kind of thread. Spit more, I want to knit a vest." The sticky threads were no different from ordinary threads when they were in Foy's claws, and it rolled them into a ball. The mountain drilling dragon was miserable. Producing the sticky threads were their innate ability. If their threads were taken, they would starve to death in the future. Well done, Furry. Get more. How is that enough to make a vest? You can also knit sweaters and trousers and have a whole 6-piece wool set. I'll see how they show off after we take all their sticky threads. They actually want to trap me. They're really courting death. Yun Chujo clapped her hands to cheer Furry on. The mountain drilling dragons wanted to escape back underground, but Furry grabbed their sticky threads. They could not escape even if they wanted to. So Yun Chujo struck dozens of them with lightning. The Beast King was obviously smarter. Seeing that the situation had deteriorated, it brought the rest of the pack back underground. Chapter 372. Fire Dragon Yun Chujo kept the corpses of the mountain drilling dragons into her storage ring, and commanded the chopping board to continue flying forward. Furry, it seems that you're quite capable, Yun Chujo said with a smile. Furry said proudly, Master, am very capable. After I'm done weaving the vest, I'll weave a sticky silk net to help you catch demonic beasts in the future. Furry, your idea isn't bad at all. Go on and weave a good net. Yun Chujo's eyes lit up. When she encountered enemies in the future, she would get Furry to cast the net and catch the animal. Was that not fantastic? And Feng was dumbfounded. She's actually taking this as a game? The master was weird, but this weapon spirit was even weirder. A weapon spirit who knew how to knit sweaters? Only it could knit sweaters made from the sticky silk of mountain drilling dragons. Although the fire cave was called a cave, it was actually more like a semi-enclosed underground space. The deeper they went, the more spacious it became. Sunlight shone in through some tiny gaps, and the ground started to become more populated with plants. There were even some shrubs. Yun Chujo passed through the territories of a few demon beasts safely. She was a little puzzled. What exactly was trapping Elder Chu and the others? The temperature was getting higher and higher, and the plants on the ground began to become scarce again. Moreover, the temperature was rising rapidly. Yun Chujo's scalp was slightly numb, and it seemed that there was danger ahead. Yun Chujo put away the chopping board and took out a concealment talisman painfully. Sigh, I really can't bear to do this, but I have no choice but to use the concealment talisman the gigolo gave me. This thing only lasts for 2 hours. I have to hurry up. And Feng, who was following far behind her, also hesitantly took out a concealment talisman. The deeper we go, the more dangerous it is. I have to get closer to Miss Jiu. Yun Chujo advanced swiftly. After 15 minutes, she smelled a strong stench. Yun Chujo did not dare to be careless and proceeded cautiously. Some bones and fur of demon beasts began to appear on the ground sporadically. Yun Chujo's heart could not help but tremble. Could it be that Elder Chu and the rest were already there? Yun Chujo did not dare to think any further and continued moving forward. Suddenly, a loud beastly roar came from ahead. Yun Chujo felt her ears trembling until they were somewhat numb. At the same time, the ground began to tremble. Yun Chujo took out 2 balls of cotton and stuffed them into her ears before continuing forward carefully. After another 15 minutes, Yun Chujo saw the scene in front of her and could not help but feel both happy and worried. She saw a trembling spiritual energy barrier on the ground in the distance. It was Elder Shao and the others. Yun Chujo counted, and there was not a single one of the 12 people missing. However, all of them were seriously injured. Elder Shao and Elder Chu seemed to be in a better condition, and they were trying their best to support the spiritual energy barrier. Outside the spiritual energy barrier, there was a huge demonic beast constantly using its sharp claws to attack the spiritual energy barrier. When Yun Chujo saw the beast, she thought she was looking at the legendary divine dragon. This beast had the body of a snake. It was a few thousand feet long, and each scale was the size of a millstone. Its 4 claws were extremely sharp, and there was a fiery red horn on its head. The rolling pin said softly, Master, this is a fire dragon. This fire dragon has already grown a horn, which means it's at least at tier 12, equivalent to the 6th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Yun Chujo's heart sank. Elder Shao's spiritual energy was the highest among them, and he was only at the 4th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. The higher the level of the spiritual energy, the greater the difference between each level of the spiritual energy. The difference between each level was like a gully, and the fire dragon had the geographical advantage. No wonder everyone was defeated. While Yun Chujio was still deep in thought, the fire dragon's huge head turned to Yun Chujio's side and spat a huge fireball at her. Chapter 373. Magical Pills. Yun Chujio dodged the fireball in a fluster. She suddenly remembered that the gigolo had once said that the concealment talisman was only effective against those below the 5th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. That damn fire dragon had already discovered her. Yun Chujio simply put away the concealment talisman. Perhaps she could use it again in the future. And Feng saw that the situation was critical, so he did not care whether he was exposed or not. He also put away the concealment talisman and shouted, "Miss Jiu, this is the fire dragon. We're no match to it. Quickly retreat. I'll hold it off." Yun Chujio was stunned when she saw him. She did not have time to ask anything, so she rolled her eyes and said in a low voice, "Let's go into the spirit shield first. We can discuss and then decide what to do." And Feng did not have any good ideas, so he could only cooperate with Yun Chujio to catch the dragon's attention before he found an opportunity to enter Elder Xiao's spiritual energy shield. Elder Chu spat out a mouthful of blood and shouted with a hoarse voice, "Little Jiu, what are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to go back to the sect?" Yun Chujio ignored him. Instead, she took out a few bottles of pills from her storage ring and fed them 3 pills each. Seeing this, everyone could not help but smile bitterly. What quality pills would Yun Chujio have? They're just hemostatic pills. Our injuries is so serious that it wouldn't take effect for a while. However, after consuming the pills, everyone discovered that the external injuries were visibly healing. Even the internal injuries were slowly healing. That was at least a 6th-grade blood regeneration pill for it to have such miraculous effects. Where did Yun Chujio procure such high-grade pills? Did Elder Qi give it to her? That should not be. It would be generous for Elder Qi to even give her a couple of such high-grade pills. Why would he give her so many? Could it be that young Master D gave them to her? Everyone's condition improved slightly, and the spirit shield was also a little more stable than before. Only then did Elder Chu look at Enfeng and asked, "This is my Prince Charming's guard. If it wasn't for him protecting me, I wouldn't have dared to come in." Elder Chu, set up an isolation array. This fire dragon definitely understands our words. Elder Chu took out the isolation array plate and opened the isolation array. Only then did Yun Chujio ask, "How long can this spirit shield last? Don't you have any other defensive spiritual artifacts on you?" Only then did everyone realize that Yun Chujio had a ton of defensive spiritual artifacts on her. Some of them even looked somewhat familiar. Heavens! Was that not the birthday gift that she had scammed from us back then? Elder Chu smiled wryly. If not for those defensive spirit tools, we old geezers would have been finished long ago. We relied on our spirit stones to constantly replenish our spirit energy, and that's how we managed to hold on for so long. Now the spirit stones are also about to be exhausted. In a while, once the spirit energy barrier fails, well, hold back the fire dragon. You and this young friend must quickly retreat. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Spiritual energy? She did have spirit stones, but that was what she had painstakingly obtained. She really could not bear to part with them. Moreover, she wanted more spirit stones. Yun Chujio's eyes suddenly lit up. She took out a few porcelain bottles and gave each of them 3 pills. Swallow this and you'll naturally replenish your spiritual energy. Everyone saw 3 pills with golden pill patterns in their palms. Golden pill patterns? It was simply unheard of. They did not have time to look at the pills they had just swallowed. Could it be that those also had golden pill patterns? Everyone did not have time to think and swallowed the pills quickly. After a few dozen breaths, everyone felt the spiritual energy in the cave rush into their bodies rapidly. Their dantian, which was originally lacking in spiritual energy, was suddenly filled with spiritual energy. The spiritual energy shield also became more stable. The fire dragon felt the abnormality in spiritual energy and immediately became anxious. Its claws hit the spirit shield even more violently. Chapter 374. The fire dragon's weaknesses. Everyone's spiritual energy was replenished, and they took turns to support the spirit shield. Elder Xiao and Elder Chu could finally take a breather. Were these pills were given to you by young Master D, little Jiu? How many more do you have? Elder Chu asked curiously. Yun Chujiu blinked. Don't worry, I have enough to support you guys for 3 to 5 days. Although there aren't many of these high-grade pills, there are plenty of the super-grade spirit gathering pills. What the hell? There are plenty of super-grade spirit gathering pills? Are you kidding us? No matter how extraordinary young Master D is, super-grade pills can't be refined just like that. Bang! 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 Yun Chujiu took out 3 big buckets from her storage ring and placed them on the ground without saying a word. Little Joe, although we're a little hungry, we can just take fasting pills. Why did you take out 3 buckets of rice? No matter how hungry we are, we can't eat so much. The corner of Elder Chu's eyes twitched. This little Joe is really out of tune. Yun Chujiu grinned as she lifted the lid of the buckets. La la la. Look at what's all this. When everyone saw what it was, they were instantly dumbfounded. Inside the buckets were super-grade spirit gathering pills with pill patterns. When did super-grade pills become so worthless? They were not even put in porcelain bottles but in buckets instead. Also, how many alchemists were needed to have this much refined? The power behind young Master D was indeed unfathomable. Now you guys can be at ease, right? 8 to 10 days shouldn't be a problem. I don't believe that we can't think of a way to deal with the fire dragon by then. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. When everyone saw those spirit-gathering pills, their spirits jolted. What little Joe said made sense. Everything depended on human actions. They would definitely be able to think of a way to deal with this fire dragon. Everyone had good ideas, but no matter how much they discussed, they still could not think of a great idea. Old Xiao and I have the highest spiritual power. When the time comes, we'll hold off this fire dragon. You guys take the opportunity to run. This dragon is huge. Once it reaches the narrow area ahead, its speed will slow down, and you guys will have a chance to escape. Elder Chu felt that this was the only way in order for more people to escape. Yun Chujiu's little face darkened. Little Chu, your thinking is faulty. Why must you sacrifice a few people? Can't all of you live? Do you think your actions are very noble? If we really let you and little Pancher be sacrificed, would we still be able to have fun in the future? Won't we feel guilty for the rest of our lives? Elder Chu's face was painted red from Yun Chujiu's scolding. Little Jiu. A little Yun Chujiu. Then what do you think we should do? We can't all just wait here to die, right? Yun Chujiu straightened her small body and said seriously, with me, your little ancestor, here, I will not let you all die. Let me think about it. You guys hold on while I take a nap first. Everyone was speechless. Yun Chujiu closed her eyes and her brain started operating at a rapid speed. What should she do? Send a voice transmission talisman to her Prince Charming for help? No, the Prince Charming must be busy with something. Otherwise, he would not be in such a hurry to leave. Besides, when he arrives, grass probably would have grown over their graves. What's the weakness of this fire dragon? Everything has a weakness. Even an outstanding person like me has a weakness. This fire dragon must have a weakness too. Yun Chujiu suddenly opened her eyes. Do you know what this fire dragon's weakness is? Everyone shook their heads. Little ancestor Yun, fire dragons are very rare. We only know of its existence but have never interacted with it before. Therefore, we know very little about it. Yun Chujiu looked at Enfeng, who shook his head, indicating that he did not know either. Yun Chujiu curled her lips. These people aren't reliable, so I have to seek help from my gigolo. Therefore, she took out the voice transmission talisman and said with her divine sense, Dear Prince Charming, what is the weakness of a fire dragon? I'm waiting online. It's quite urgent. Chapter 375. Killing a fire dragon with anger. A moment later, the voice transmission talisman began to vibrate. Yun Chujiu quickly sent her divine sense into it and heard Di Biming say in a low voice, If the fire dragon has yet to grow horns, attack its eyes and rear. For those that already have horns, attack the horns on its head first, then its eyes and rear. Why are you asking this? Yun Chujo giggled and took out another voice transmission talisman. Prince Charming, am just asking. I love you, moi. After Yun Chujo put away the voice transmission talisman, she realized that Elder Chu was staring at her with beaming eyes. Elder Chu asked with a trembling voice, Little Joe, was that a voice transmission talisman? Yes, my idol gave it to me. Don't think too much about it. Yun Chujo quickly put away the voice transmission talisman, afraid that Elder Chu would try to snatch it. Elder Chu scratched his head awkwardly. I was just asking out of curiosity. Does Little Joe think that everyone is like her, snatching whatever she sees? My Prince Charming told me that the fire dragon's weakness is the horn on its head. Let's discuss how to deal with it. Yun Chujo said with a smile. The dragon outside was getting increasingly anxious. It was just about to break the spirit shield, but did not expect that it would actually become more stable after that little girl arrived. How hateful. After I break the spirit shield, the first thing it'll do is eat that little girl. The fire dragon attacked continuously for a long time and was getting tired. Thus, it laid in the middle of the road with its huge body and closed its eyes to rest. Just as the fire dragon was falling asleep, it heard an arrogant voice shouting, Hey, little loach, I'm coming out. Come and bite me. The fire dragon opened its eyes and saw that damned little girl sitting on a large chopping board, flying around in front of it. The fire dragon was instantly enraged and stretched out its huge tongue toward Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo cursed in her heart. Why is this fire dragon acting like the single-horned demon lizard? It actually used its tongue to attack as well. I'll hack you to death. Yun Chujo waved her hand and a purple lightning bolt shot straight toward the tip of the fire dragon's tongue. Needless to say, the fire dragon had underestimated its opponent and was really struck. However, its tongue was much stronger than the single-horned demon lizard's. Although it hurt from being struck, it was not a big deal. Instead, it attacked Yun Chujo even more furiously. You really have some skills. I won't play with you anymore. See you later. Yun Chujo said as she ran into the spirit shield. The fire dragon angrily hit the spirit shield with its claws. Unfortunately, the shield only trembled a little. After being replenished by everyone's spiritual energy, it was unbreakable. The fire dragon could not do anything. It returned to its original spot and closed its eyes to rest. A moment later, Yun Chujo ran out again. Hey, idiot, come and catch me. You ugly freak. What's the point of living if you're so ugly? Just crash into the wall and die. The fire dragon angrily pounced at Yun Chujo again. After dodging it nimbly, Yun Chujo once again hid behind the spirit shield. The fire dragon's intelligence was quite high, and it immediately understood Yun Chujo's intentions. She doesn't want me to rest. When you come out again, I'll ignore you. Hence, when Yun Chujo came out again, the fire dragon ignored her. Yun Chujo rolled her eyes and scolded loudly. You're originally a long worm, and you even copied the divine dragon's long horn. You're really shameless. No matter how much you look like a dragon, you're still a fake. What fire dragon? I think you should be called fireworm. You're just an ugly long worm. The fire dragon could not take it anymore and pounced on Yun Chujo again. After a few times, the fire flood dragon was extremely annoyed by Yun Chujo's teasing. This stinky girl is obviously at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. So why is her power of lightning so strong? Plus, that broken vegetable board was flying up and down. What the hell was that? I couldn't catch it at all. The fire dragon had seen Yun Chujo a few times, but it did not expect that her body was shining with light and had several layers of spiritual energy barriers, which made the fire flood dragon so angry. Is this stinky girl selling spiritual weapons? How could she have so many defensive spiritual weapons on her body? Chapter 376. Spice it to death. Yun Chujo teased the fire dragon so much that it could not rest at all. It knew that this was the enemy's plan, but that little girl's words were too harsh. It could not bear it anymore. After 3 rounds of tormenting for half a day, Yun Chujo felt that the fire she stroked within the dragon was almost ready. Leaving behind 2 elders to support the spirit shield, the rest left the shield and went straight for the fire dragon. It saw everyone coming out and looked at them with contempt. They came out just in time. This fire dragon was hungry. Yun Chujo sat on the chopping board and ordered from behind, "Poke its eyes. Stab its anus. Its eyes and anus are its weak points." As expected, everyone went straight for the fire dragon's eyes and anus. It looked at everyone with contempt again. If I did not have horns, the places that you attacked would indeed be weak points. However, I'm not afraid of you attacking these two places at all. You're really courting death." Although they had strength in numbers, the fire dragon's body was very strong. When the swords and sabers struck it, it was akin to being dotted. Damage was not done to the fire dragon even after attacking its eyes and anus. Fortunately, they had the spirit shield. When everyone felt that they were not a match, they would take turns to return to the spirit shield to rest. Therefore, even if they were injured, it was not a big deal. The fire dragon was very proud. Sooner or later, your spiritual energy would be exhausted. I have a strong body. Even if I can't spit fireballs, I can eat all of you just by relying on my strong body. After a few rounds, the fire dragon saw that everyone was moving slower and slower. It became even more proud. The humans were about to die. In just a little while, they would become its delicious meal. It had been a long time since it ate human flesh, and it really missed it. Therefore, when Yun Chujo joined the battle on the chopping board, the fire dragon did not take it to heart. Although Thunder Root Spirit was rare, that tiny bit of lightning power was not a threat to it at all. Yun Chujo shouted loudly, "Attack its anus! I have chili noodles here. Put it in. Won't the chili kill it?" The fire dragon was furious when it heard that. As expected, the little girl handed a few sacks to those people. Although the fire dragon had a strong body, it could not withstand chili noodles. It tried its best to dodge and kept attacking the people with its claws. Yun Chujo smiled slyly and the chopping board suddenly flew above the fire dragon's head. It struck the fire dragon's red horns with several bolts of lightning. The dragon's attention was focused on its hind, and it was completely unprepared. The horns were the weakest part of its body, and with Yun Chujo's powerful lightning and continuous attacks, the red horns were cut off by Yun Chujo. The fire dragon cried out in pain as its huge body rolled on the ground. Everyone was overjoyed, and they continuously attacked the fire dragon's eyes and its backside. It was an unbearable pain. After the horns were cut off, the eyes and the butt of the fire dragon became vulnerable again. Very soon it was worn down to the point that it could not fight back. After a while, the fire dragon lay on the ground motionlessly. They used the eyes as a breakthrough point to cut the fire dragon, preparing to take out its demon core. That way there would be no mistakes. What everyone did not expect was that just as they saw the demon core and was about to take it out, a red light shot out from it and directly rushed toward Yun Chujo, who was watching them. As this red light was not an attack, the defensive spirit tool on Yun Chujo's body was not activated. This red light directly shot into Yun Chujo's forehead. That's not good. The fire dragon is trying to possess her. Elder Chu shouted in shock. Chapter 377. Nemesis. The miserable Yun Chujo did not expect the fire dragon to do that. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Elder Chu stamped his feet anxiously. It's over. It's over. This fire dragon's divine consciousness is much stronger than little Jio's. Once the possession succeeds, little Jio will be dead for sure. Elder Chu. Then what can we do to help Yun Chujo? Everyone was also extremely anxious. Elder Chu shook his head. There's nothing we can do. We can only hope Yun Chujo will get through this. After the dragon's primordial spirit entered Yun Chujo's divine consciousness, it immediately shouted arrogantly, "Stupid girl. Did you think that I, the fire dragon, is so easy to kill? I'll swallow your primordial spirit, and then find a more suitable host." Yun Chujo was still a spirit cultivator. Her primordial spirit had not yet taken human form. It was only a small purple ball. When it saw the fire dragon pouncing over, it continuously dodged it in its spiritual sense. The dragon was very pleased with itself. Her spiritual sense was only this big. Let's see where you can hide. I'll definitely swallow you up. You've been toying with me many times in the outside world. It's my turn to have a good time toying with you this time. The fire dragon was like a cat chasing a mouse. It could obviously easily catch up to Yunchujia's primordial spirit, but it kept chasing and stopping. The fire dragon kept laughing triumphantly when looking at Yunchujia's primordial spirit shivering. Stupid girl. I'm almost done playing, so I'll eat you now. Then I'll use your body to kill those people. Isn't that fun? Ha ha ha. After saying that, the fire dragon pounced toward Yunchujia's primordial spirit. Just as it was about to catch up with Yunchujia's primordial spirit, Furry rushed up and blocked Yunchujia's primordial spirit. Furry was only a small ball in its primordial spirit form. Although it was trembling slightly, it still stood firmly in front of Yunchujia's primordial spirit, blocking it. When the fire dragon saw Furry, it was dumbfounded. What the hell is this? How can there be such a thing in the smelly girl's spiritual sense? However, no matter what you are, I'll eat you. The fire dragon smiled sinisterly and pounced at the ball of yarn. The ball of yarn used its small claws to resist, but it was no match for the fire dragon. Yunchujia's primordial spirit saw that the ball of yarn was injured and rushed toward the fire dragon. The fire dragon immediately gave up on the ball of yarn and bit Yunchujia's primordial spirit. Yunchujia's primordial spirit immediately curled up in pain. Yunchujia's divine consciousness was in a mess. Outside, Elder Chu and the others saw that Yunchujia's face was as pale as paper. She bit her lips tightly, and her forehead was covered with fine beads of sweat. Just as everyone was worried, a white light shot out from the rolling pin and hid between Yunchujia's brows. Everyone was instantly dumbfounded. What was that thing? It came out from that rolling pin? A weapon spirit? Ah, it must be the weapon spirit of the rolling pin. That's right. The rolling stick was left behind by Patriarch Linghua. It must be special. And Feng took out his voice transmission talisman and was about to send a message to Di Biming but hesitated when he saw Little Silver Dragon. Since ancient times, flood dragons were extremely afraid of true dragons. Thus, Little Silver Dragon might be the nemesis of the fire dragon's primordial spirit. After Little Silver Dragon leaped into Yunchujia's divine sense and saw the fire dragon's primordial spirit tearing at Yunchujia's primordial spirit, it was instantly enraged. Little Silver Dragon clawed at the fire dragon. Fuck! He actually dared to bite my master. I can't beat you outside, but I'll torture you to death here. Flood dragons, such as this fire dragon, had a natural fear of true dragons, such as Little Silver Dragon. The fire dragon was instantly terrified when it saw Little Silver Dragon. Little Silver Dragon stretched out its claws and slapped the fire dragon. Damn it, who told you to bite my master? This slap is for my master. This slap is for Wool. As this slap is for myself. I'll slap you to death, you little bitch. Chapter 378. Seize all opportunities. The fire dragon's intestines were turning green with regret. If it had known that there was a dragon in this wretched girl's spiritual sense, it would not have chosen her no matter what. It had thought that this little girl was the weakest, so it had chosen her as a host. It did not think that she was a weirdo. After Little Silver Dragon slapped its claws at the fire dragon a few dozen times, it aimed at its primordial spirit's throat and took a bite. The fire dragon struggled with all its might. Upon seeing this, Furry and Yunchujia's primordial spirit quickly went over to help. Master, bite it. Eat this little bitch and your damaged primordial spirit will recover. Little Silver Dragon shouted loudly. Although the little purple ball had yet to take human form, it could still devour primordial spirits. Upon hearing Little Silver Dragon's words, it began to devour the fire dragon's primordial spirit. It struggled desperately, but Little Silver Dragon's claws held it down tightly. Furry was not willing to be outdone, so it kept kicking and scratching. Who told you to bite me? I'll kick you to death. Yunchujia's primordial spirit devoured half of the fire dragon's primordial spirit, and the other half was divided between Little Silver Dragon and Furry. The people outside noticed that Yunchujia's face was slowly turning rosy, and her expression changed from that of pain to a strange satisfaction. Then she burped and woke up. The silver dragon also flew out from between Yoon Chujio's brows and entered the rolling pin again. Little Joe, are you okay? The people asked worriedly. I'm fine. That fire dragon's primordial spirit was eaten by me and Little Flame. Yoon Chujio burped and said. Little Flame? Is that the weapon spirit of that rolling pin? Yes. If it wasn't for this situation, I wouldn't have known that the rolling pin had a weapon spirit. The thing my master left me is indeed extraordinary. Yoon Chujio said with a smile. And Feng, who was beside her, heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he could not help but curse in his heart. Miss Jo, your ability to lie is truly unparalleled in the world. You didn't know? He had seen that little silver dragon countless times. However, Elder Chu and the others believed it to be true. They thought that it was because the rolling pin was eager to protect its master that the weapon spirit appeared. They all sighed. The first thing Yoon Chujio did when she got up was to put away the huge corpse of the fire dragon. A tier 12 demonic beast. My goodness, this would definitely sell for a lot of spirit stones. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently, but they did not say anything. After all, if Yoon Chujio had not saved them, they would have all died there. Little Joe, what's inside this sack? Is it really chilly? Why does it feel so heavy? Elder Chu kicked a few sacks on the ground and asked curiously. Hehe, this is good stuff. It's the best to fool people. Yoon Chujio smiled and opened a sack for everyone to see. When everyone saw it, they were all in a mess. It was actually sand inside. I did this when I was in the Mystic Realms desert. Not only can I fool people with it, I can also make people curious during critical moments. It's a must-have for travel. Most importantly, it's free. It's absolutely free. Yoon Chujio tied up the sack properly and put it into her storage ring. Everyone felt that their worldview was refreshed once again. Before they could recover, they saw Yoon Chujio jumping into the fire dragon's huge nest. TSK. This fire dragon really doesn't care about hygiene. It's so messy in here. The nest was filled with the bones and fur of demon beasts. Yoon Chujio collected some high-level demon beasts and kept them. Their bones could be used as medicine, and the fur could also be used to make a few sets of fur mats. Furry can practice with them. The faces of Elder Chu and the others who followed her were stiff. This Yoon Chujio really seized all opportunities. She did not let anything go. Yoon Chujio saw that there was nothing left to take in the nest, so she said with a smile, Elder Chu, why are you all standing there? It's a waste not to take them. These bones are also good medicinal ingredients. Everyone looked at the bones that Yoon Chujio picked up on the ground, and the corners of their eyes twitched. Don't you feel guilty saying that? The good ones have all been picked by you, and the remaining ones are all low-level beasts. What's the point of them picking them up? Chapter 379. The Mysterious Fire Spirit Beast, Elder Shao. Is the nest of the fire spirit beast ahead? Yoon Chujio was in a good mood after making a small fortune. Elder Shao nodded. Well, reach the Sea of Fire in about an hour. The fire spirit beast should be hiding near the Sea of Fire. However, when I came here with my master in the past, there were no fire dragons here. I don't know if anything has changed. Then let's continue moving forward. By the way, I'm very curious about the fire spirit beast. Its poop is so valuable. It's really great. Yoon Chujio hopped forward. Everyone thought about Yoon Chujio's words. Why did they feel that there was something wrong with her words? She was not thinking about the fire spirit beast, was she? Everyone shook their heads. They were probably thinking too much. They might not even be able to see the shadow of the fire spirit beast, let alone catch it. Even if she had any wicked ideas, she would not be able to use them. The further they walked, the hotter it got. Everyone activated their spirit shields. Yoon Chujio was the only one who did not care at all. An hour later, everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. About 100 meters ahead was the raging sea of fire. Everyone was shocked by the majestic scene of the Sea of Fire. At that moment, Yoon Chujio thought, oh my god! Such an expansive sea of fire. How many fire spirit beasts would there be? After everyone recovered from their shock, They asked Elder Shao, is this fire spirit beast hiding in this sea of fire? Elder Shao shook his head, I don't know either. The last time we came we waited here for a month. There was no sign of the fire spirit beast. We only heard a few beasts' roars occasionally. It was said to be the cry of the fire spirit beast. What exactly does it look like? Yun Chuzhou asked curiously. Elder Shao said with slight embarrassment, even the people of the Heavenly Gate sect have never seen the true appearance of the fire spirit beast. The Heavenly Gate sect originally had a portrait of the fire spirit beast that was passed down, but it was destroyed later on. So now no one knows the true appearance of the fire spirit beast. They only know the cry of the fire spirit beast. Yun Chuzhou could not help but twitch her lips. They were too unreliable. They were there to capture the fire spirit beast without even knowing what it looked like. If the fire spirit beast could speak a foreign language and appeared right under their noses, they would not even know. Everyone was a little discouraged. The fire spirit beast was indeed too difficult to capture. Unless it came out of the sea of fire, there was nothing they could do. Everyone did not know how to go about it either. They could only take turns to wait and calculate the time limit given by the Heavenly Gate sect. They could only wait for another 3 days at most. If it was not fruitful, they had to return empty-handed. At night, everyone felt a little sleepy. They had not slept for several nights. Perhaps because Yun Chuzhou had swallowed the primordial spirit of the fire dragon, but she was very excited and did not feel sleepy at all. Therefore she volunteered to work the night shift. Seeing that Yun Chuzhou's body was full of defensive spirit tools, there would not be any danger, so they agreed. Yun Chuzhou strolled to the front of the sea of fire and observed the area. Her eyes were full of schemes. After she activated the defensive spirit tools on her, she moved closer and began to shout at the sea of fire, "Hey, is there anyone inside?" There was complete silence in the sea of fire. There was no reaction at all. Yun Chuzhou stretched her neck and continued shouting, "Are all the fire spirit beasts dead?" Seeing that there was still no reaction from the sea of fire, Yun Chuzhou touched her chin. Could it be that the fire spirit beasts did not understand the human language? That should not be. Did they not say that the fire spirit beasts were exotic beasts? If Little Black could understand her, they should be able to understand her too. Chapter 380. Going to trick the beast again. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes. She guessed that the fire spirit beast was very cautious. Otherwise, it would not have been impossible to catch it for thousands of years. Sigh, could it be that all the fire spirit beasts are dead? Sob, that's such a pity. Yun Chuzhou straightened her neck and began to howl. Elder Shao and the others who were about to fall asleep when they were woken up by Yun Chuzhou's howl. Everyone was dumbfounded. What was Yun Chuzhou up to? So cute, so powerful, and such a magical animal has gone extinct. The heavens is really heartless. All of you have lived underground your whole life and have never seen the outside world. It's so sad to see all of you die just like that. The rolling pin and the ball of yarn felt that this line was somehow familiar. The two of them shook a little. Their evil master was going to trick the beast again. Sigh, there's nothing I can do. Since you're all dead, I'll just pay my respects to you. I'll burn some soft and sweet steamed buns for you, so that you can have balanced nutrition in the afterworld. You don't have to eat hard stones anymore. Yun Chuzhou took out a few steamed buns from her storage ring and threw them into the sea of fire one by one as she spoke. Elder Shao and the others were so angry that they were twitching. Has Yun Chuzhou gone mad? Isn't that a waste of food? The temperature of the earth fire is extremely high. Those steamed buns would instantly be turned into ashes. What was she planning? Could it be that she wants to use the steamed buns to attract the fire spirit beast? Don't joke around. As everyone knows, the fire spirit beast only ate ores. It didn't eat anything else, alright? She's simply messing around. Although everyone thought so, they still stretched their necks and looked forward. Something strange had happened. The first few buns had indeed turned into ashes, but when the fifth bun was thrown down, a shadow jumped out from the sea of fire, caught the bun that had yet to fall into the sea, and disappeared. Elder Shao and the others were dumbfounded. Then they were so excited that they almost screamed, "Fire spirit beasts! It must be a fire spirit beast. Everyone held back the excitement in their hearts and did not come forward. They were afraid of disturbing Yun Chujio. Damn! Although Yun Chujio did not seem normal, these fire spirit beasts seemed even more abnormal. A fire spirit beast that had not shown its face for thousands of years actually appeared for a few steamed buns. It was simply too weird, was it not? A faint light flashed in Yun Chujio's eyes. TSK, any reaction would have sufficed. Fire spirit beast, no matter how refined you are, you can't beat me. Yun Chujio continued to throw large steamed buns into the fire. A few more figures flashed past, took the steamed buns and disappeared. Due to the cover of the earth fire, the crowd could not see the figure clearly. However, the speed of those figures was astonishing. They disappeared without a trace in just a flash. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes as if she did not see the fire spirit beast. As she threw the buns, she shouted, "Poor fire spirit beasts. If only you were still alive. I still have a lot of delicious food here. Much better than steamed buns. Poor thing, I'm afraid you haven't eaten anything other than stones. I'm the most soft-hearted person, and I can't stand such a tragic story. If you didn't die, I would definitely feed all the delicious food in my storage ring to you. I don't care about the earth fire. What I like is your mysteriousness and your indifference to the world. If I can be friends with you, I'll definitely feed you until you're fat, so that you can play happily under the sun, and no longer have to hide in this underground life." Elder Shao and the others were still very excited at the beginning. After all, they had seen the fire spirit beast. However, they were a little discouraged now. Although the beasts had picked up the buns, they seemed to be very cautious. How could Yun Chujio trick them into coming ashore with just a few words? After Yun Chujio threw dozens of meat buns, she took out the stack of books she bought and began to read them with great interest as if nothing had happened. And Feng's eyes twitched when he saw the title of the book. The books was not Me and My 3,000 Beautiful Male Cultivation Furnaces, but My 81 Male Pets, My Beautiful Male Harem, and so on. And Feng thought to himself, if His Excellency found out about this, he would be furious. This Miss Zhou is really outrageous. When Elder Chu and the others saw Yun Chujio's book, their faces turned red. Elder Shao said with a dark face, "Yun Chujio, how can you read these books at such a young age? Hurry up and put them away." Yun Chujio did not feel embarrassed. She said with conviction, "I'm just taking precautions. I don't know much about things between men and women. What if I'm deceived in the future? You guys, it's because you lack this kind of knowledge that you've become single old men." Chapter 382. Let's go back. Elder Shao almost choked when he heard Yun Chujio's words. What nonsense! We're all focused on cultivation, and have never considered the affairs between men and women. It's not what you said at all. If it's not, then it's not. What are you so hung up about? Why don't I lend you a few books to read? Yun Chujio said with a smile. Elder Shao felt that he would die of anger if he continued arguing with Yun Chujio. He turned around and left. Yun Chujio waved the book in her hand. "Hey, who wants to read it? I'll lend it to you for free." Everyone shook their heads like a rattle drum. Yun Chujio is really too unrestrained. We can't afford to offend her, but we can hide from her. Therefore, everyone ignored Yun Chujio and left one after another. Yun Chujio curled her lips and continued reading with relish. For the entire day, Yun Chujio did not go to the Sea of Fire at all, and only ate and kept reading the book. Everyone was really confused, and every time they wanted to ask, Yun Chujio would stop them with her eyes. She would not let them ask, so everyone could only wait and see. At night, Yun Chujio threw dozens of meat buns into the Sea of Fire. She mumbled a few words that were similar to what she said the night before, and then went back to sleep. On the third morning, when everyone thought that Yun Chujio would throw the buns again, they found her sitting on the recliner, unmoving. Everyone was unsure what Yun Chujio was doing. Why did she suddenly stop the feeding? At first, there was nothing unusual with the sea of fire. After a while, everyone realized that there were a few figures jumping around in the sea of fire. Although they could not see clearly, they could tell that there were about 7 or 8 fire spirit beasts. Yoon Chujio then stood up from the recliner and walked to the front of the sea of fire. When the fire spirit beasts saw Yoon Chujio coming over, they became more active and jumped around even more. Yoon Chujio picked up a meat bun but did not throw it into the sea of fire. Instead, she ate it herself, and as she ate, she mumbled, "Sigh, I've been feeding you for 2 days and I still haven't seen you eat it. I guess none of you like this meat bun. I'll keep it for myself to eat. You guys can continue eating stones." Squeaking sounds came from the sea of fire, but Yoon Chujio acted as if she did not hear it. As she ate, she continued to mutter, "Oh my! Why are the buns today even more delicious than the previous ones? They're delicious, juicy, and so fragrant. Sigh, I can't see you guys anyway. I'll leave after breakfast. You guys can continue living happily in this dark underground. I've already given you a chance. Since you guys don't want to grab the opportunity, there's nothing I can do. There are so many delicious food like this bun outside, but you guys can't eat it anymore. How pitiful." The few figures in the sea of fire seemed to be a little anxious. A few of them jumped forward. Before the crowd could see clearly, the few fire spirit beasts were pulled back by the ones behind them. Yoon Chujio cursed in her heart. There must be some old and young fire spirit beasts. There were some who were impatient and some who played it safe. It seemed that they had to continue working hard. Yoon Chujio sighed. "Sigh, I'm such a soft-hearted person. I'll leave these delicious food to you guys. I'm leaving." After saying that, Yoon Chujio placed dozens of meat buns on the ground. After thinking for a bit, she placed 2 pots of stewed meat on the ground. Then she clapped her hands and said to the crowd, "Let's go back. Since these fire spirit beasts are willing to gnaw on rocks, why should we meddle in other people's business? We can't do anything about the earth fire. Anyway, I have the heavenly thunder root spirit. When I'm free, I can help you hack some of your stuff. Let's go." Chapter 383. Beautiful fire spirit beasts. Elder Shao and the others saw that Yoon Chujio was winking at them so much that her eyes were about to cramp up. They could only turn around and walk out in confusion. Everyone had the same thought. Would this work? Would those fire spirit beasts really take the bait? Would they really come out from the sea of fire? Yoon Chujio silently counted in her heart. 1, 2, 3. When Yoon Chujio counted to 30, a few fiery red figures jumped out from the sea of fire and pounced on the food. Yoon Chujio did not stop and continued to walk forward. She also indicated that everyone should not pay attention to what was happening behind them. Yoon Chujio muttered as she walked, "Let's go quickly. There's neither delicious food nor beautiful scenery in this cave. It's really suffocating. I'll never come to this lousy place again. I really don't know how the fire spirit beasts can endure for thousands of years here. What a low-key mystical beast. Let's go back and grill some meat. Earth fire isn't that great anyway. The flame is too uncontrollable, so it's better to grill it with tree branches. We can also eat it with hot pot, maybe stir-fry a few side dishes, and make a pot of spiritual wine. TSK, I'm dying of hunger. After dinner we can play on the swing, and soccer is so fun. Let's hurry up and leave. I can't wait." Yoon Chujio said that she would leave quickly, but her footsteps were slow. She perked up her ears to listen to the sounds behind her. As the saying goes, people die for money and birds die for food. I don't believe that these greedy beasts can endure it. Squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak. The fire spirit beast behind them finally could not help but squeak. Yoon Chujio still did not turn her head. She continued to mumble as she led the group forward. Squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak. The fire spirit beast's cries became even more urgent. Yoon Chujio still turned a deaf ear to it. She even quickened her pace. Finally, a few fiery red figures leaped over and began to chirp anxiously about 30 feet away from the crowd. Yoon Chujio looked as if her ears had just came back on. She turned her head around with a look of surprise. Huh? Are you guys calling for me? The crowd followed Yoon Chujio and turned around as well. They saw 5 fiery red small beasts standing about 30 feet away from the crowd. There were also 3 slightly larger beasts by the side of the sea of fire. These small beasts were only about 2 feet in size. They looked similar to fire-breathing panthers. They had fiery red fur and their eyes were like rubies. They were bright and beautiful. The 3 slightly larger fire spirit beasts started to squeak anxiously. It seemed like they were calling the 5 small fire spirit beasts to return. However, these small fire spirit beasts were having a friendly conversation with Yunchujio. Are you fire spirit beasts? You're so beautiful. You're the most beautiful spirit beasts that I've ever seen. Yunchujio squatted down and said with a smile. The 5 small fire spirit beasts raised their necks proudly. Apparently, they were enjoying the compliments very much. Do you want something from me? I'm leaving now. This cave is so boring. The 5 small beasts seemed to be a little hesitant. They used their forelegs to push the sand around anxiously. Do you want to eat good food? I only have 2 roast chickens left, you can have them. I'm leaving, take care. Yunchujio said as she took out 2 roast chickens and placed them on the ground. Then she signaled everyone to leave with her. Everyone resisted the urge to capture the few small fire spirit beasts and followed Yunchujio. The 5 small beasts pounced on the roast chicken and started eating it. How could 2 roast chickens be enough for them? In just a few bites they were all gone. The 5 small fire spirit beasts looked at each other and started to squeak once again at Yunchujio's back. Yunchujio turned around and spread her hands. There's really nothing left. If you guys want more, you'll have to come back to Spirit Radiance Sect with me. At that moment, 3 large fire spirit beasts ran over and kept roaring at the 5 small beasts, trying to grab their bodies and pull them back. Chapter 384. Would you agree? Elder Shao and the others were dumbfounded. Oh my god. Was it not said that fire spirit beasts were hard to find? They actually saw 8 of them at once. There were others who were there for months and did not even spot a single fire spirit beast. Yet, little Joe used a few big buns to fish up 8 fire spirit beasts? Had these fire spirit beasts not eaten buns in their past lives? Are you all mutated beasts? Can you have some integrity? You actually took the bait just for a few buns? And those 5 small ones, no matter how you look at it, they seem to want to rely on little Joe. They were even playing into this game. It was just that these 3 big ones that didn't seem to agree. What would little Joe do next? Everyone thought that Yunchujio would convince the 3 big fire spirit beasts to go with. They did not expect Yunchujio to wave her hand at the 5 small fire spirit beasts. You guys can go back. Your elders are doing this for your own good. If you don't listen to them, you'll suffer a loss in the future. Hurry up and go back. Elder Shao and the others wished that they could sew Yunchujio's mouth shut. Are you stupid? If you say that, wouldn't we have wasted our efforts? The 3 big fire spirit beasts obviously did not expect Yunchujio to say that. They could not help but be a little confused. What did this human little girl mean? Yunchujio sighed. Actually, I'm not that kind. I gave you food because I wanted to bring you back to the sect, and use your earth fire to refine pills. Although the outside world is very interesting, and it'll provide you with good food, you still have to do something for us. So you should listen to your elders and continue to stay in this dark cave. After all, it's very safe here. The 3 adult fire spirit beasts hesitated after hearing Yunchujio's words. This human girl said it so bluntly so it didn't seem like she's lying. Yunchujio continued. I know that you fire spirit beasts are very wary of humans. That's understandable. However, are you really willing to stay hidden in this cave for thousands of years? You don't see the sun all year round and can only eat ores. Besides, you don't seem to have any other abilities other than producing earth fire. With such a closed environment, you probably won't be able to advance forever. Moreover, I previously killed a tier 12 fire dragon. It said that this fire dragon didn't exist before. What does that mean? It means that there are already high-level fire-type demon beasts eyeing this place. Those demonic beasts might not be afraid of your earth fire. When the time comes, what awaits you will be a disaster of extermination. I, Yunchujio, don't dare to say anything else. But I can swear here that I absolutely will not harm you. Yoon Chujio's last few words had clearly hit the sore spot of the three big fire spirit beasts. Chapter 385. This girl was trying to trick them again. Elder Shao and the others held their breaths as they stared at the fire spirit beasts, afraid that they would not agree to leave with Yoon Chujio. Under everyone's eager gazes, the 8 fire spirit beasts nodded one after another and squeaked. All right. Since you've already decided, do you still need to go back and retrieve anything? If you don't need anything, let's go. Yoon Chujio was laughing in her heart, but she looked calm on the surface. The 8 fire spirit beasts shook their heads. There was nothing else there other than ores and earth fire. Frankly, they had long since grown tired of the place, but they could only hide there for their own safety. Yoon Chujio's eyes rolled, and evil tricks bubbled up in her heart. If she brought those 8 fire spirit beasts back to Spirit Radiance Sect, she would not get anything. She had to keep them for herself. Yoon Chujio said with a troubled expression, Elder Chu, these fire spirit beasts are too eye-catching. If we take them out like this, we'll definitely be targeted and robbed by all sorts of forces. Elder Chu and the others were so happy that they were dumbfounded. They had silly smiles on their faces. Oh my God, there are 8 fire spirit beasts. The Heavenly Gate sect relies on just one fire spirit beast and are already so cocky. Spirit Radiance sect has 8 of them in one go. Oh my God, we've struck the gold mines. It was not until Yoon Chujio asked them several times that they finally came back to their senses. What did you say? Yes, what you said makes sense. Then what should we do? Elder Chu looked at Yoon Chujio. She was a little fairy. No, that's not right. She was a money-grubbing little girl. Yoon Chujio touched her chin and said awkwardly, it's best to hide them. It's better to put them into the spirit beast pouch. However, spirit beasts that don't have owners can't be put into the spirit beast pouch. And Feng blinked his eyes. Miss Jo, is it really okay for you to lie like this? The spirit beast pouch given to you by His Excellency can obviously contain a spirit beast that doesn't have an owner. Elder Chu and the others knew that spirit beast pouches indeed could not contain a spirit beast that did not have an owner. So Yoon Chujio successfully led them astray. What should we do? Although we've never seen a fire spirit beast before, people would guess their identity easily since we're here in the Fire Valley. Little Jo is right. The safest way is to put these fire spirit beasts into the spirit beast pouch. However, if they don't have an owner, they won't be able to put them into the pouch. And Feng said nonchalantly, then why don't we just get these fire spirit beasts acknowledge someone as its owner? Yoon Chujio gave Feng a bunch of thumbs up in her heart. What did it mean to be a promising and ambitious subordinate? And Feng was a pretty good example. But since ancient times, these strange beasts have never acknowledged any masters. They're stubborn and would rather die than be driven by others. It's said that the one from Heavenly Gate sect stayed there by chance, but didn't acknowledge a master, Elder Chu said with a frown. Yoon Chujio said with a smile, everything depends on the person. Let me try. Yoon Chujio squatted down and said to the 3 big fire spirit beasts, you heard it too. If you don't acknowledge a master, someone might come after you once you get out of this fire cave. I won't force you, but you should think about it carefully. If you acknowledge a master, it will not only ensure your safety, but also facilitate communication. If you have any needs, it'll satisfy you immediately. Elder Chu and the others finally understood. Oh God, she was tricking them again. If the 8 fire spirit beasts acknowledged her as their master, would she not be able to be all-powerful? You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.